Breaking news, fam. It has happened. As we speak, Antonio Conte has been sacked. He has been sacked. It is now official. It's been put on the Tottenham website. He has been sacked. Wow. So many things we can say. I will read the official statement from the club. But let me give a big up to all those. It seems I'm the only one streaming. Wow. Oh man, with the breaking news. We got Anonymous Worm in the house. He's in the house. We got Ariel. We got my sister Lisa. We have Bundazut. Chris. We got Tot Spurs. We got Icecar. Daniela in the house. We got Spurs King. We got Jacob in the house. And Stellini is the acting head coach. This is breaking news. Fresh from the oven. Fresh from the kitchen. You guys know I'm Conte in, but at least we have clarity. Well, no, we don't have clarity. But at least we now know finally the club has said something after a whole week. They have said something. We have us jumping on. They're on. We will have Stell and some other people who are jumping on. There's going to be a lot of motion coming in. But yes, Conte has been sacked. Stellini will serve as serving manager along with Ryan Mason. We will talk about, will we still have a chance to get top four? Stellini has kind of done well with some of these players. Still bottle job players, but man, yeah, let me read it. I'm gonna post the link in a couple of minutes, just confirming who is jumping on. I know a couple of people are going to jump on. So a lot to say, But, let me go about reading club statement. Let me get that to you guys. This is fresh from the oven. Spurs official account. We can announce that head coach Antonio Conte has left the club by mutual agreement. We have achieved Champions League qualification in Antonio's first season at the club. We thank Antonio for his contribution and wish him well for the future. Christian Stellini will take action as acting head coach for the remainder of the season, along with Ryan Mason as assistant head coach. Daniel Levy, chairman. We have 10 Premier League games remaining, and we have a fight on our hands for Champions League place. We all need to pull together. Everyone has to step up to ensure the highest possible finish for our club and amazing loyal supporters. Boy, this is huge. Huge news. We're still waiting for a couple people to jump on. On the meantime, man. Oh, you just Conte has been officially sacked, and Stellini is now our um, is our acting manager. This is huge, huge, huge news. We have to start from the beginning. The fan base, this opinion, when we first got Conte, what we envisioned, and then what was a reality. Um, yes, Scott, I'm going to post the link in about 10 minutes. I'm just getting sent to link to a couple people. They're just preparing. They're eating their last meals. They're using the bathroom. They're getting ready to jump on because this is going to be how people are asking me for the link from other WhatsApp channels. And we're going to get a variety of opinion. Yeah, this is huge. This is huge. Um, yeah, telling people jump on Conte News. Yeah, this is huge. This is huge, and I'm going to post the link right now to just get immediate reaction from people. Um, yeah, I just posted the link. Um, yeah, 10 p.m. I mean, it's good for me. And, I just posted the link. It's you know, um, a lot of people watch Henry. Henry is international break, so he does have his show. I said, you know what? I would do a Sunday night show, kind of do a game show of if you were Spurs candidate manager, but did not know that this was going to happen. We got Elias in the house. Breaking news has just happened. I just read the statement. I'll read it again in a couple more minutes. Conte has been officially sacked. Stellini is now the assistant, is the acting head manager along with Ryan Mason. Fresh starts.
Uh, First of all, big up to you, Mari, for having me. Yeah, and I think it's my first time on your channel as well. Yeah, what a day and what a timing for the news as well. Because we were just on another channel. We were discussing like today. There's nothing much to discuss on Sunday night, and suddenly the time bomb dropped, and we have the news to discuss. I won't say that I'm really very surprised because I was having this conversation the other day at Tottenham away as well, and I said that there's a possibility that if Conte resigns with mutual agreement, he might leave the coaching staff team behind to let the work continue so that he can get a certain payment as well. And Ryan Mason might be the assistant coach. I did mention that the other day, and I'm not really exactly surprised, but I'm just surprised that the timing of the news, because recently there were rumors going around that Conte might be back by Tuesday and he might be continuing the job and everything. But the way it has come out and all, I don't know how to put the feelings in there. Like I'm actually glad in a way that he has left Stellini to be the in charge, rather than Ryan Mason being the guy there. Because if it would have been just Ryan Mason, I think we would have ended up in Conference League probably or below that. Because I don't trust Ryan Mason's managerial skills at this crucial time of the season.
Yeah. Man, this is huge. I give to the word ramifications in all on all angles. Um, I'm waiting for more people to jump on. You start from the beginning. You start from the beginning, and a couple people said this. I remember Bob Spurs saying this. Like, if this doesn't work, this is going to be on Liam. But the problem, despite despite him dropping that bomb last Saturday, Conte, about the club and whatsoever, because of the style of play, people are upset about that. We had a Conte out contingent. So what ended up happening when he first came in, where Universal were like, if this doesn't work, it's on Levy on the board. Now, Levy kind of got what he wanted, that some in the fan base are upset because of the style of play, despite being fourth. Now, he's gone. Everybody is happy he's gone. And so this has been, I'm going to be honest, a disaster. A
It is.
disaster for the fan base. But it's not a disaster for Daniel Levy and the board because of the upswelling of Conte out. Now it minimizes. It almost like Daniel Levy has kind of saved the club in some twisted way. Levy always wins. In a twisted way, Levy has won because people are not seeing champagne football. They're not seeing pretty football. We'll know the reason why because we feel, and some may disagree. We feel that he wasn't fully back. Have we truly have a Conte team? I would say no. But Daniel Levy wins again. He wins again, in my opinion, because go back, rewind the tape. When he was hired in November a year ago, we were saying if Levy and the board doesn't get this right with Conte, a serial winner, it's on their heads. And now I get the sense of feeling it's now on their heads, other than a few of us who've been complaining. Do you agree, Elias?
Yeah, it is on his head. I mean, I've been saying that lately as well, that if Conte goes, this club will be in a big problem right now, because you have people are realizing that. Yeah, this is another thing that I'm actually surprised, and I want to go on to that point, because any manager who takes on Tottenham Hotspur at this point of time is in a problem with the kind of players that you have, with the kind of time that you are in. If it's a summer window you take on, it's a different thing. You take a job in the middle of the season with the amount of injuries that we have been dealing with, the system, there's no philosophy in the club, and we already know that Daniel Levy and his relationships with the previous managers has not been that great. The way Jose left, the way Pochettino left, the way Nuno was sacked, and all that situation. I mean, if any manager we go for, I think they would want that assurance, and Daniel Levy cannot give that assurance to any manager. Apparently, Thomas Tuchel was linked with us, and he was supposed to fly to UK on Tuesday before he got the Bayern job. It says it all, like that news was confirmed as well, that Thomas Tuchel was considering to joining us as well. Nagelsmann was another one he was considering as well. Pochettino has made his feelings clear that he's not keen on a return at this point as well, according to some sources. It just says it all, that Daniel Levy is the problem in this club, and if anybody still denies that, you are absolutely deluded if you still deny the fact that Daniel Levy is not the problem of this club. uh and I I completely agree with this, that he has in a way won, and I think he wants the fans to just give a smoke screen, and he will try again once again to bring in like a big name manager. He may go for Nagelsmann all the way, somebody who is just in their own problems. He might try to fix their problems by bringing them in, but it's again going to be another smoke screen. And yeah, it is it is what it is. I mean, the reality of this club is what Conte highlighted the other day after the Southampton game. If you still deny that, I mean, I really don't know what to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Cold shots in the house. Michael Vito is in the house. Bryce is in the house. Luca is in the house. Um, Joseph is in the house. I'll put Joseph's comment again. Just back up what I just said. Daniel Levy wins again because we were all saying when we got Antonio Conte, if this doesn't work out, the fan base won't forgive Daniel Levy and the board. But what happened was there was a Conte outswelling because of the style of play and perfect excuse for Daniel Levy to say, you know what? Let's sack the guy. You know, they didn't really truly back him, And now, and now people are relieved. They're relieved that he is out. It's twisted. It's twisted. But Daniel Levy has won again. He's won again. The
He
guy is
has.
an evil genius. He's an evil, evil, evil genius. And Daniel Levy has won again. We got Jordan who's in the house. Spurs broken yet another world class match. Yep, this club is something else. Hold on to the next match that will be second of the year. Exactly. The dude wins again. I'm telling you. The only person fit enough to get the trophy with leaving in charge was the queen, and she's gone. Yes. Yes, I agree. Lucas says, yep, Marvy, shame we couldn't make it to the end of Conte's contract with the United fan base behind him. Levy get away with it again. Exactly. And it is us, our fans' fault, because trust me, we were all saying in November when he came in, of November of he's really been but yeah, that's the 2 months. But yeah, the November of gosh, I get my years wrong. We were saying this when he first came in, that now this will be the ultimate test for Levy and the board. And Levy and the board, right now, they're drinking a glass of champagne in a stove because there's not a upswelling of angry fans. It's only a few of us because people got disappointed by the style of play. And part of the style of play, the part of the reason why we're not winning the way we want to win is because Conte doesn't really truly have his players. And so he gets away with it again. And the assists, right? You play basketball, you have the assists to a player. Well, same thing in football. The fans have assisted Daniel Levy
Yep, they have.
in a twisted way. The fans have assisted Daniel Levy. So it's just I'm for 100%. We don't voice our frustration in the stadiums. Shame on Levy. Yeah, he gets away with it again. Daniel Levy gets away with it again. Absolutely, absolutely unbelievable.
There's a lot of blood
Unbelievable.
on the hands of Tottenham fans, by the way, I must say.
Man, whew, it's I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And yeah, people are watching. Yeah, Conte's been sacked. It's spreading like wildflower fire right now. And man, I just want to say thank you, Conte, um, for two things. For really showing your heart and ambition for this club. Um, you brought ambition, something that our club does not have. You told us that before you signed on, when you rejected us the first time, and then Paratici comes knock on your door and they leave you. They made promises to you. They made those promises, and once again we fail another manager. This is on us, and I just want to also thank him for just dropping that bomb, because the silver lining is now everyone knows, right? For those who are naive, who didn't know, now they know that in this club and how it operates and our players. But Levy wins again. That should be the title. Levy wins again because, like Scott says, the fans are celebrating. They're celebrating. They're getting a hard on, a jizz on the new manager. They're celebrating, right? Is this new manager going to fix the academy? Is this
Nope.
new manager, is he going to work under a plan of what type of place, what type of team that you want to be, and what type of quality of players that you're going to need to succeed? It is it is downright, discouraging. I will support whoever is the manager because I love Spurs, but I just know it's going to be a rinse and repeat cycle. It's going to is going to be that cycle, and so yeah. Um, the one thing as a head scratcher, as you know, people are loyal. Italians are very loyal. I'm surprised Stellini has accepted the role of acting manager. I am really surprised because usually Italians they stick together. Maybe that was part of the agreement because in back of Daniel Levy's mind is that hey, I'm not too confident I could get top four with just being Mason being in here, you know, and so I'm kind of surprised by that. But Scott, like I was just saying, Levy wins again. Should be the title. My reason, if you heard it, is when he was first hired, Conte, we all were saying on the as content creators on Twitter that if he fails with Conte, it's on Levy and the board's head. Well, he's gone. Fans are celebrating because of the style of play. He wasn't back. The fans assisted in getting Conte out of here. And who wins? Daniel freaking Levy wins again.
Yeah, 100%. You're so right. And that's why, look, there's going to be plenty of time to blame Levy, and we've blamed Levy. But just my initial reaction is so tired of this fan base. Like I said in my post there, Conte is too ambitious for our fans. That's the problem. He came in here. He wants to win trophies. He wants to raise our club above where it has been recently, above where it is under Daniel Levy, and fans crapped on him for that. They made fun of him for that. They made comments, oh, he's not a good fit for our club because he wants to win things. Like, what the hell kind of club do we want to run if we're saying that a manager that wants to win trophies can't work here? That, again, like you said, that means Daniel Levy wins. And I don't care how many times you say Levy out, Levy out, Levy out, Levy out. If you say Levy out, but then say Conte can't work here because we can't win, I don't want Conte here because he wants to change the club for the better, then you're not Levy out. I'm sorry. You don't want changes. Yep. You're buying into what Levy wants. You're letting him, as Bob Spur says, I'm going to steal his line, you're letting Levy dictate your ambition. You're letting Levy dictate your expectations for the club. And we can say, right, sure, people might say that Conte isn't going to get the backing he wants. And I've said it from the start, but that doesn't mean that I change my expectations. That doesn't mean that I start saying, no, I'm going to lower my expectations. And if that makes me a negative fan, fair enough. But this is a bad day for Spurs. This is not something that improves our club. This doesn't improve our chances to win. This doesn't improve our chances to play better football. And I'm getting tired of hearing that better football, phrase all the time. We are not playing better football with Stellini and Mason as our managers for the next 10 games. We're not playing better football if we get Poch or Nagelsmann or Luis Enrique if we keep the players that we have. This doesn't help us fix any of the issues that we have at our club. And I don't understand why we're celebrating when all we're doing is cycling out another manager, putting the blame in another place where the problem isn't, and just letting this move, addressing our actual problems down the road. It's a sad, sad day, and it's even more sad that people celebrate it who say that they're fans of this club.
Yeah, it's it's fresh, because we knew last Saturday this day was coming. They expect tonight. We knew it was coming, and I was hoping that he would probably be there on Saturday for Everton, because I'm like, wow, it's getting close to the minute. But see, Scott, what had me laughing, and I was watching, and Alex even brought up the point because they were talking about top four. You know the reason why Bayern snatched up Tuchel because we were in the worst of Tuchel, who's a pragmatic manager, meaning that this team is still right. If you believe the DNA, right, frees Tuchel. Am I wrong? Is he another pragmatic manager? So even getting rid of Conte, they were still looking for a pragmatic manager. They weren't looking for a free-flowing. I mean, did you see Chelsea win? Even despite winning the Champions League, did you see Chelsea winning with a free-flowing football?
No, if they bring Tuchel in, the only reason you would bring Tuchel in is because you think that these players are good enough to win, and you want to maximize that, right?
Exactly.
That's all you're doing. You're bringing him in because you're saying, you know what? The problem is Conte's tactics aren't working. We're going to bring Tuchel in, and he's going to be able to make these players play better. We've seen they can't. Like, there's no debate anymore. There's no debate. The players aren't good enough, right? Only the craziest, most delusional Spurs fans, and even most of them have had to come around and change their mind to say these players are not good enough. That's almost the one thing that people somewhat agree on. But then afterwards, they'll go in and say, these players aren't good enough, but Conte is the problem for us playing bad football, right? Like, never mind, he didn't play boring football at Chelsea. He didn't play boring football at Inter. He didn't play boring football at Juve, right? He's never played boring football before. Our football was super boring before he got here. The football under Nuno was atrocious. No matter what people wanted to say, under Jose, I talked to many people saying how awful our football was. We loved watching Kane and Son, but we said the football was awful to watch. The last season of Poch, the football was awful to watch. Like, this has been a problem that we've had for years. But instead, again, we're still going to go. And like you said, us looking at Tuchel, I would even argue if we look at Nagelsmann, I wonder how much he is actually looking at him. Like, he's going to want to win. I don't think, is Nagelsmann coming in here to have 2 years of not winning at all? Like, is that what he wants to sign up to, after just going from Bayern? Right? He's still a hot commodity. Yes, he was out at Bayern, but if you come out and listen to all of the players, there's a lot of players coming out in defense of him saying, hey, he wasn't the problem here, right? I think Goretzka said it. Cancelo said it. I've read a few guys saying he wasn't an issue here. So Nagelsmann's not like a disgraced guy. He still has a lot of, he's still a popular manager. A lot of people would want him. He's not somebody who's going to come in and say, you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to have 2 years of us doing nothing and rebuilding at Spurs, right? If you bring him in, he's coming in with the expectation that we're competing for at minimum top 4, if not higher, next year. So again, it seems like all these guys we're looking for, like you said, Mari, are win now, keep going the same route we are, not address the issues in players, which is concerning.
I would say this, big up Kevin. I'll be honest, there were halves that were boring, but here's the thing. Here's the problem, right? And we'll talk about Nagelsmann, and we'll talk about I can bring in Pep Guardiola. The problem is, first of all, like I said, they wanted to bring in Tuchel, which he's not. To me, I thought he was pragmatic. So, which tells you something. We still don't have a plan. We could bring in Pep. We could bring in Nagelsmann. We could bring in the most genius offensive mind. But the problem is we don't have a plan. We don't have it's hard to succeed when you Bayern, right? They have talented players for Nagelsmann to come in, and I can guarantee you they have a plan. They have a plan. They have a process. Our club really doesn't have it. It doesn't have it, and so I can get a hard on. I like Nagelsmann. I really do. The problem is, I just know we're going to fail him in about a year or two. I just know it. First of all, our fans don't have the patience. But number two, are we going to bring in a Goretzka, right? Are we going to bring someone talented so Nagelsmann can be able to You know, yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. But are we going to have the players to get those shackles off? Right? Eric Dyer, you want Dyer shackles off? I mean, we got to give up goals, right? If there's one weakness about Nagelsmann, his teams give up goals. His teams does give up goals. But we got Eric Dyer, Davies, who's slow, Tanganga. I can say this because I'm black. He's the slowest brother I've ever seen. Tanganga, like, I mean, like, Kane is no spring chicken, right? Are we going to maybe properly recruit? Who's that guy from Denmark who plays for Atalanta? A young kid, who could, I would love for us to go after Vlahovic, right? I just read a wonderful article about him and Juventus not working out. It's just like, are we going to get the players have that ambition to be able to support Nagelsmann? And for me, I have to go by 20 years of evidence. I don't think so. I don't think so. But I love Nagelsmann.
I'll get labeled as a Conte apologist or a Conte lover. I would have, when we were looking at a new manager, I wanted Nagelsmann ahead of Conte. I don't find Conte to be a great, like, my number one first choice manager overall, right? But that doesn't mean that I'm going to throw him under the bus and make stuff up about him like he plays boring football, like his titles weren't great. Like, I would love Julian Nagelsmann, right? I'd love him in here. But look at what he's playing with. He has Kimmich, Goretzka, Musiala, and who's the other right? Like, look at their midfield, for example. He can't play. He can't play wonderful attacking football with the players we have, right? Like, if he comes in here, he's going to need more players than Conte's that needs.
Yeah,
we're not playing exactly like Lucas says.
Scott,
they're not playing for him.
Scott,
he doesn't want him.
A player who I rate, Stibitzer, who would be the best midfielder on our team if Stibitzer was on our team.
Like that's what's frustrating, because I love him. I would love him to come in. I loved watching his teams play at Leipzig. It's great, but we don't have the players to do that. So, like, we have to understand that if we brought him in, again, he's not playing. We're not playing, pragmatic football, because that's what Conte number one wants. His teams at Inter were great to watch. It was great to watch them. They moved that ball because they had Brozovic, they had Barella, they had Eriksson, even Vidal, who's more, but Vidal is not a creative player, but he has more ability on the ball than our midfielders do. It's just, and see, then you get this stupid comments, right? Must have been crying his eyes out. What? Like, again, I just said that I prefer other managers over Conte, but it doesn't mean that I have to lie about the realities of Conte being here. So that makes me a Conte lover, and that I'm crying because I realize that we just lost a top level manager. Maybe not tier one, but if he's not tier one, he's definitely at the top of the second tier of managers in the world. And we're not getting somebody who's at that level.
By the way, M. Dot, just a correction here. He has not been sacked. He has resigned on a mutual agreement. He's just so sick of this club that he has resigned. Yeah, just to correct you.
Yeah. I should change it. Right? Yeah. My mutual. And the thing is, there's two things, right? Someone posed this on another stream. When were you happiest? And I'm like, I was happy when Redknapp was, under the Redknapp years, the Poch years. But the thing is, right? We didn't win anything, right? This is the reason why we're excited. But see, everybody's having revisionist history, right? When we first got Conte in, right? Even one major content creator, right? When he first came in, everybody was celebrating the move. Why? Because there's a shame on us, in some little hopeful way, maybe this is the manager that changes Levy and the board and back him. And we will trophies are coming, right? Now, I did say, along with some other content creators, if it doesn't work, boom, we got Levy and the board, right? The ladder happened, and the ladder with the assists, right? of the fans and getting Conte out. So and like I said, yeah, I agree. Newcastle and Brighton play better football than us. But the thing is, they have what we don't have. It's a team. They're disciplined. They know the role. Brighton has McAllister, right, who plays for Argentina. McAllister is a baller, and he's disciplined. On my last show on Wednesday, I was saying that I broke down the comments from Poch, Jose, and Conte. Our players are not disciplined enough for any tactic, right? They may play one good game, and then the next game they fold. They're not disciplined enough. That's the problem with our team, And so, yes, I would love to play like Newcastle. Actually, Newcastle draws a lot. I would like to play like Brighton, but we don't have the players. And
so that's his question. Yes, they do have better players than us to play an attacking style of football. They 100% have a better squad to play that style. They've been working on it. Brighton has been building that kind of squad for years. They've been adding those kind of players so they can play that style. So yes, they 100% have better players to play an attacking style than Spurs do.
General question,
Mari, if you don't mind, can I answer this M.1? If you really don't mind, yeah. The previous comment, Conte leaves every club like this. I want to see that comment. The previous one, yeah. The one that he made just before that. Okay, Conte leaves every club like this. He did the same with Chelsea, and he had good players there. But he won trophies there. He won an FA Cup, and he won a Premier League there. He won it with the players. He has the standard, so he wanted to improve on that. So if he has lost there, he has gained nothing because of Daniel Levy and the board. And the next question, genuine question: did you guys back Jose as much as you have backed Conte? Jose has 10 times the CV Conte has. So you need to understand that as well. We were not the one who sacked Jose as well. We were not the ones who brought down Jose. The fans who hated that particular style of attractive football, those are the ones who are now like you criticizing Conte, and they were the one who actually got Jose sacked as well. So please stop trying to put that agenda like if we are the one responsible for all this. No, we are not.
But when it comes to Jose,
we have been backing Conte, and we backed Jose as well.
I don't know. I didn't know Elias back then. I know Mari did because Mari and I have gotten in multiple discussions about Jose. So I know he did. I did not back Jose as much for different reasons, but I said the whole time he was never backed. I had said the whole time Jose was there, I said he did not get the players that he wanted. He did not get the players he needed. So yes, in that way I did. And when you say Welbeck, again, this is what frustrates me about people. They'll say, what do you mean you don't have the players to attack? You have Kane up front. We have to get the ball to Kane. We have no way to move the ball. Like playing attacking football isn't just having one or two good players up front. Like, do people really misunderstand that? It's how you play the whole team. You move the ball because, as we've seen, when you only have Kane and Son up front, if those are the only quality players we have, then they can be marked out of games. They can have poor games. It's why we still score a ton of goals. Right, we're like third or fourth in the league right now in goals scored. Right, we do that because we have elite players that can take over, but we also struggle to maintain consistency because we can't create offense as a team. We can only create goals when Kane or Son are having great plays, or we get set pieces where Kane can attack the set pieces, or Perisic can put in a quality ball. That's the problem. So when people say, "What do you mean you can't play attacking football? You have Kane." Like, how little do you understand about the game that you think it's one striker up front? It's the whole team. That's the problem. That's the issue that we've had along. That's what we've said for years. We've been saying it before. We said it under Jose, said it under Nuno. So just in case you think it's only a Conte thing, trust me, I've been complaining about the lack of backing of managers since Poch was here. So it's not just a Conte thing.
Yeah. And, Luka is on fire today. Yeah,
exactly. He's perfect.
It's the big difference. They have a better team. This is what Conte was complaining about. Selfish players, undisciplined players, better team. If you don't have a better team, this is the results you're gonna have. And we are attacking players, right? Kane, than Brighton. But the problem is we don't have a better team, right? Who is sourcing them these opportunities to score?
Our attack is better. That's why we score more goals than Brighton, right? We're talking about the quote-unquote better football. We score more goals than Brighton because our attack is better. Is our football for what people want to watch when they're talking about better football? That's not just having Kane score goals on his own. We're talking about a whole team. We have Davies, who people want to play left wing back for us, right? Everybody says about him, even the people that like him, he can't go forward. People want him to play because he's just steady at the back, but he can't go forward. Emerson Royale, he can't put a cross in. He can't attack. He can't pass a ball. These are players we have. Our wing backs can't help any way in the attack. Højbjerg tries hard. He's not a creative player. Skippy is a hardworking young guy. He doesn't create in any way. Even Bentancur, who's good at moving the ball around, he's not what you would call a creative style player. We have nobody like McAllister who can help in the midfield, start the attack, create options. And like you were saying, my favorite time to watch the team was when we had Poch. Was it because it was Poch necessarily? No, it's because we had Eriksson, we had Dembele, we had Jan and Toby, who were center backs who could get on the ball and create attack. Like our center backs get on the ball and they're terrified. They have to kick it. All they do is lump it forward, mainly to the other team, right? We had Rose and Walker creating. Like we had the whole team, even Dele Alli, who I'm not sure was great, but because the attack, the whole team was great, he fit in perfectly. We have nothing like that now. We have nothing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's that argument. I mean we have been having it day in day out, but sometimes people just think that just having the front three that's good, it solves all your problems. And like you have Kane, you have Son, you have all this and all that. I mean, by the way, M. Dot, I'm just curious. Are you a Spurs fan? Because you said your attack is better than Brighton's. No question. I'm just
No, he's an
curious. Are you
Arsenal
a
fan.
Spurs fan? Or you're an Arsenal fan?
He's an
Okay, so
Arsenal
fair
fan.
play. Yeah, fair point then. Yeah.
Well, thank
I
you for
understand.
jumping on, and we like to debate. I'm looking all over Twitter. They're using the word sack, but this is embarrassing because you look at ESPN FC, you look at Bleacher Football Report, you look at I'm seeing Real Madrid people just comment on that, and they're just what they're saying, right? Is just that, wow, Spurs just fired the winner. You can't win at Spurs, right? I don't know why it's outside of our fan base. They figure out you can't win at Spurs. Like there is a reason why, right? Why is there a reason that these managers win somewhere else and not at Spurs? There's one reason why, and God is laughing always straight to the bank, and that is Daniel Levy. He is laughing straight to the bank. And now here comes the tricky part, right? Because now, apparently Real Madrid wants to get rid of Ancelotti. They're looking at Pochettino. They're looking at Nagelsmann, right? You would think we would be negotiating with Nagelsmann, to say, okay, we're going to announce you taking over after the 10 games, right? But no, us, Spurs, we always do things in the last minute. We don't take a proactive approach. It is embarrassing, and I'm lucky people are celebrating. They seriously, we're going to be smashing teams 5-0, and trophies are coming along the way. I got bad news for you. It's not going to be pretty, especially because our fan base is not patient. Trust me, I love Nagelsmann. He's number one on the list for me to be the coach. But, is he a yes man? Is he going to be where Danny says, I want Spence? He's like, I don't want Spence. Well, we're getting him anyway. Okay, I guess I got to take, I got to cook with this ingredient, that I didn't want. So it's going to be, man, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Nagelsmann's coming from RB Leipzig, which is probably the most streamlined organization in football, right? Like everything from the top down. There's not a club that's more aligned in terms of every owners, director of football, scouts, managers working together, right? And they even do it at the lower. Like there's not a club in the world that has a better group in terms of cohesion working together. Then he went to Bayern, where even still they get players. They might not be quite the same where you're going to get the exact player you want, but they're so big and they have such a control over German football that they get every player that you need. So now Nagelsmann's going to leave two situations where he has no issues. There's no issues that he wasn't getting players to be successful at either club, right? Now he's going to come here where there's no chance. I'm sorry. There is no reason that anybody can convince me that Levy's going to change what he's doing and all of a sudden now is going to get it. Because if he was going to change his way, he should have done it under Jose, and he didn't. Then if he learned, you would think, okay, maybe he learned there. Now he's bringing in Conte. Well, if you're bringing in Conte and you're doing stupid shit like bringing in Spence and Danjuma, like that says it all, right? If that doesn't say it all, that right, you don't bring any quality center backs in. This is what drives me nuts, and I'll go on another rant.
He's gonna go wild. Oh, you rated Everton for Danjuma? Yes, he is Serge Gnabry. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, look, see, and the Everton fan, big up to I get Richo here. I've seen him a few times. Like he said, he's excited now. He's excited. Everton's going through financial fair play issues, a disaster of a season, but he should be. He should be legit excited to see us coming in because we're at a disaster right now ourselves. We're a garbage fire right now, and he's excited for us to come. Ugh.
I tell you, oh yeah, because there's gonna be another manager who could somewhat sort him out, sort out Winks, Lo Celso, Nobele, because they're still on contract. It'll be cheaper to get those players to work out, and maybe it's the genius who's going to be able to do this. I'm telling you. I thought I was
kind of ready for this, Mari, but I'm not because you heard me coming in angry. I thought I was kind of like resigned to the fact that he was leaving, but now that it's official, you can see I'm angry. And now that I'm reading this comment, it's right. I didn't even think about that. It's right. We'll get in a Potts or a Nagelsmann, and we'll say. Or Nagelsmann. I got to figure out how to pronounce his name right. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, if it's Nagelsmann.
We're going to think that it's Celso and Winks, and then we're going to try to pretend like all these guys are good enough. Jed Spence had one good game in Liga, and after a bunch of terrible games, we're going to pretend like he's the solution for us. It's Udogi, who I think probably is pretty good, but even still, that's a risk bringing him in. Never played in the Premier League. We'll see if there's an adjustment time, right? He could still be good and still need 3 or 4 months to adjust, right? But that's what we're going to do.
Do our fans have the patience? Does
Levy?
No, they don't. They don't.
Yeah, and that's the thing. As you can see, it's telling that we were in for Tuchel. Let me tell you, like a Tuchel, in my opinion, plays pragmatic. Bayern just beat us to the punch, and you know what? Bayern has a team that will excel whatever style because they have the players. But
that's what Bayern makes sense, right, for him because he's going to go in and solidify them, and they don't need a massive change, right? Because they're already, like you said, they're quality. They just need somebody to come in and be solid and see them out with their quality players, provide some of that for them. We don't just need to be, somebody to come in and make us solid. We need a total remake of our whole approach. And that's not what we're going to get if we would have had somebody like Tuchel. And again, I should be excited. Nagelsmann was the guy I really wanted when we were talking about it. Before he went to Bayern. Obviously, we did but when he was at RB Leipzig, he was the guy I wanted. I was hoping for Nagelsmann and Rangnick, not as the manager, but as the DOF, right? Have something like that, streamline our system. And it should be a system that Levy likes because if you look at that RB system, they produce players. They don't spend a ton of money. They bring players up through their ranks, which should be exactly what Levy wants, that kind of system. But now that it's rumors that we're going to get him, I just have no hope that it's going to work out. No hope that it's going to do anything other than just be frustrating. Again, watching another manager that should have success be failed by the ownership.
I think, and big up Matero's in the house, Malta Barley's in the house, and a big
Yeah.
up to M Dot and Richie 63 in the house. I will say this, to Malt and Barley's, I was watching the Football Heritage stream, and the question was about top four. And for me, my thing is this about the top four. Just to be honest, it has benefited other clubs in regards to attracting players. It has attracted big players for us. Alex actually did a good job naming the players that we brought in the years that we qualified to Champs 4. Yes, it brings in money, but we're so irresponsible with that Champions League money. You know, okay, the top four money will help to buy off, you know, almost said Pochettino, buy off Conte. Okay, great, but this team it really needs a reset. But the problem is the people who are in charge of that reset, is it going to be done correctly? And history shows it hasn't, other than Pochettino. And mind you, I would say this. I'll use a Scott M quote. They got lucky. We got lucky with Harry Kane. We literally we got lucky because if you look at the whole 23-year picture, yeah.
But even look at that, Mari. Like when people say, look, I'd love to do it. If you told me we're going to reset the club and I had faith like it was actually going to be done properly, I have zero issue with that. I said that's what we should have done when we're done with Jose. Like I said, we should reset the whole thing and do a whole project. The problem is we saw with Poch, like it worked. Why did it work? Because we had Paul Mitchell. We had so many of the players we got in early, but then we fired Paul Mitchell. We sacked the guy that was getting us the players. And then why it wasn't sustained success is because when we needed to replace them, we got rid of the guy who was getting us good players, and the player recruitment dropped off. We stopped buying players altogether. Poch said that he needed a rebuild. He got sacked for saying that. So I just have zero faith. Like I know that people say, let's just do a reset. Why do we think that that's going to have any success? Like, let's be clear. Even more than now, a reset requires very smart personnel decision, very smart scouting, right? We need to make sure we bring in the right players. Because if you reset the club and you'd make shit transfer decisions, well, then we're screwed, right? Like even worse than we would now with Conte, because Conte can mask the issues. Kane can mask the issues we have. Like if we do a reset, Kane's not staying for that. No. Kane's not saying, "Hey, I'm 31 years old. Oh, what? We're gonna start trying to win again in 2 years?" Like, there's no chance for that. So that's the problem when I hear everybody like, "Let's just do a reset." Like, "Oh yeah, it's no big deal." We can't do a reset because Levy has shown in the past he doesn't have a patience for a reset. He doesn't. He had it with Poch. He got rid of him. He had Paul Mitchell there. He got rid of him. He gets rid of the people that we need to be in place. He won't. And again, I mean, I agree with what Reload says here, right? The reset is going to be forced. Well, that's the other problem. Because if we're doing a reset, then sell Kane this summer for $100 million. Because we need that money to buy players, right?
I like the point. Sorry, Mari.
No. I just want to quickly say I said this 3 weeks ago. My return to streaming. Very, very good mate who has a family member that works within the Manchester United system, and I remember he told me they were getting Ten Hag when they were talking about Pochettino going to United, stuff like that. He was like, their man is Ten Hag. It's going to be done, and right. I spoke to him 3 weeks ago. And he told me this, and people could choose to believe. Hey, he said, Harry Kane, right? Especially if Conte goes, his mind is out the window in regards to Tottenham. His belief was this club was going to have a plan and have a vision for success that would be best for him to succeed in winning a trophy. He said, United and the other teams, especially United, know that this summer Kane can be gotten because Kane wants to leave. Barring a miracle by Daniel Levy, Harry Kane is gone. And you notice some of the articles, like Spurs Web or whatsoever, he likes Nagelsmann, he may be convinced. My buddy said, bro, I'm not trying to make you sad. Harry Kane and his camp are dead set in leaving. The only thing that's going to change, he's going to go about it different than the summer that he got criticized for it. He's going to allow himself, if he can't force that in the background, that move summer, he's going to that contract out. He says Harry Kane is not going to resign, barring a miracle. And then to add on to it, he even said Sonny's camp is like, his dad whatsoever. They kind of want him to win stuff, and they're going to politely ask if the club can. And to be honest, Sonny is getting older. Would be nice if he would turn back to Germany or whatsoever. I'm telling you now, Harry Kane is gone. He's already gone. Barring a miracle in regards to resigning. He may play with Spurs next season, but it's only because the contract is going to run out. And so that's the bad news I have for you guys. The miracle would be getting Pep in. That would be the only thing. And even that, my buddy says he does not believe in the leadership at Spurs. He's been there he's been in the academy. He's been in the club, so he knows. He's been there over 15 years of his life.
Even if he likes Nagelsmann, does he want it? He's got to. Kane has to be smart enough to know it's going to take time, right? Nagelsmann's not coming in year one. Trophy
Everything
challenge,
changes.
right? Yep. Even if Kane likes Nagelsmann, he has to know this. And I know we keep talking about it as though it's Nagelsmann, but I think he could be somebody that he likes. I think he has a high enough profile as a manager. He could be somebody he likes, but he would have to know he's coming in not to win right away. So yeah, he's gone. I agree. I remember when you said it, Marian. It's it makes perfect sense, right? Everything you said that you got from your friend makes perfect sense. And I think it's just the only reason, fans won't like to hear it is because they don't want to believe it, because the thought of our team without Kane is terrifying.
I mean, yeah, he has carried us for years, and now Son has been trying to do that, help him, and there's always a limit when you can rely on one player, or you can rely on a couple of individuals. But if you don't have a proper project, you don't have a proper philosophy, that's where you end up. And I think as Spurs fans, we have allowed it to happen over the years and over the seasons. The way we have been impatient, the kind of comments that we make, and I mean, you can just feel it. I think the last few weeks, the way we were asking for the Conte sack, some of these fan channels and all that, and now it has happened. And pretty much, I mean, what did we gain? Nothing. I mean, another clueless project. We don't know where we are headed. And I like the point that Scott brought up about Nagelsmann. I mean, his style of football is not something that we have players for. We only have 3 midfielders, and he plays with the whole loads of midfielders. His system is very much focused on I think 4 in the midfield, and then he played two forwards up front. So do we have the players for his system? No. So if he were to start now, I think it's going to be a big mess as well. He can't bring you anywhere with the kind of players you have. With 3 midfielders, he can't do much. So, and you have the whole loads of other midfielders that he used, like a deep lying midfielder. You don't have any because Bissouma is injured. And right now, I feel that Conte going out is the worst thing that could have happened in this season, and it has happened, in my opinion.
Brother Has, thank you for jumping on.
Yeah, I saw your message in the group earlier, but I was just out, so
yeah. My,
happened again? Yeah.
I will give you the floor, but I'll just gonna tell you my biggest takeaway is it's not Conte being sacked. My title is Daniel Levy wins again, and the reason why is because when we first hired Conte, everybody saying, "Oh, if this doesn't work out, it's on Levy and the board." Well, a year later, Conte is gone, thanks to partly with the fans, and now everybody's looking at Daniel Levy and the board as saviors. They got rid of boring Conte ball. So Daniel Levy is smoking a cigar, drinking a glass of wine. He wins again because the heat is now on. Yeah, Conte called out the board or whatsoever. From what I'm seeing from Twitter, what I'm seeing from everywhere else, people are happy that a miraculous offensive managers coming in, Nagelsmann, Poch, Steve Cooper, whoever is coming in, and Conte is out. And people are not noticing Daniel Levy has another failed manager again. So I've said Daniel Levy has won again. The evil genius that is Daniel Levy, he has won again, and it's just that's all I can say.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
Well, for me, man, like it's just we're just gonna repeat the same cycle for the next 2 years. So, a new manager will come in, he'll give us a bit of hope. Everyone will be like, "Oh, it's a new beginning." Blah blah blah. Levy probably will give him like 1 or 2 players he wants, and then he'll get the rest will be just players that the club want, and then we'll be the same position in 2 years' time, having the same conversation. So bookmark this, 2025. Sometime 2025, we'll have the same conversations. And yeah, Levy's got away with it again. But the thing is, I think it's all manipulation. That's why I say it's psychological manipulation. He pushes the narrative that the manager's the problem every time. He brings the manager to the point where he just explodes, like Conte did. And then some fans turn on the manager naturally, because I mean, not everyone's going to like the manager we bring in, regardless. Some people will stay loyal because I'm of the belief that it doesn't matter what manager comes in under Levy, no one will succeed. So yeah, so it's like we're just recurring cycles. It's like we're just gonna get on the hamster wheel again in the next summer, probably. So yeah, Levy has won again, but we need to make him lose. But I don't know how you make this guy lose, because it's just everyone just like Mourinho. It reminds me a lot of Mourinho. So remember we had Mourinho. Half the fan base were against Mourinho from the beginning, and eventually everyone wanted him gone. So it's like Mourinho 2.0.
Yeah. And I remember how happy, because everybody's having revisionist. It wasn't going to work out, and no, everybody celebrated the reason when we got Conte in, because there was a hope. Wow, Levy and the board are finally going to change. We're going to back them. Trophies galore is coming. And now, fast forward, and there were those, Bob Spurs said it, I said it, Stug said it. If it doesn't work out, yes, because then the people will come with pitchforks, with flames, with knocking on Levy's door. You have failed the club. Well, almost half of the fan base or more, they're celebrating that Daniel Levy is a second Conte. And they are jizzing on themselves for the new manager. They're happy Conte is gone. There's no persecution of the board and Levy. And the dude...
When is this man going to be held accountable for his decisions? When is Levy going to be held accountable for his decisions?
I know. We've tried. We've tried, but there's always, for some reason, he always finds a way to just be able to get rid of a manager and win. Even the beloved Poch, right? And I was watching the other stream earlier today, and I'm just like, okay, you don't like Jose, you don't like Nuno. You definitely like Nuno, and don't like Conte. We had Poch. Who was in charge? Daniel Levy. We had Poch. If you like Arsenal's plan, right? Why you didn't listen to Poch? It'd be a pain rebuild. Get rid of some of the players that I wanted to get rid of, right? And then this fan base, right? Right, those who have figured out, man, look what Arsenal's doing, right? Oh
And
yeah,
now they're jumping on the. Yeah.
we'll be patient about it. Lie, lie, lie. Because did Conte says I need 2 to 3, 4 summer windows. But you know what? People will say, well, he didn't sign a contract saying that he's gonna stay another year. But then again, I could say Conte doesn't trust the board. Why would you give another year? So it's a standstill. So I'm telling you, it's going to be funny.
I think you bring a good point about the Arsenal thing, because now you see some Spurs fans who were against Poch, and they wanted Poch sacked all those years ago. Either they want him back, or they want like a young progressive, the young progressive manager stereotype. So obviously Nagelsmann is like the new shiny toy right now in the press, and then obviously some people want Pochettino to come back. I don't want Pochettino to come back, because I just think it's just pointless. He will just it's just going backwards. As for Nagelsmann, what worries me about him is that he's with a team of Bayern Munich and he's not top of the league, which is why he got sacked. And if you're not top with a team of Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga, that's worrying to me, at least. And also, if you remember back to AVB, he was a young progressive manager coming into Spurs and with new ideas, blah 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 blah. And he won the league with Porto and maybe won, I think, the treble, something like that. And he came into Spurs after failing at Chelsea, and everyone thought AVB was like this new age manager. And Levy again didn't give him the players, and he got sacked after like 2 years. So having a young progressive manager isn't always the answer. I'm not saying it's not the right way to go about it, but how many projects have we had at this football club and it never succeeds? And the thing is, I think this whole project thing buys the Levy another 3 or 4 years now, if we go down that route, because people will say, oh, look at Arsenal. They were 8th 2 seasons in a row, and eventually they magically came together, but they had a plan. But it's like, I don't trust Levy with the plan. So even if Levy put a plan out, I won't trust that he's going to see it through. There's such a mistrust between me, not me particularly, I think it's a load of other people as well, and the board. So why would we trust this 4-year plan or 3-year plan they'll set out again, or new projects, bullshit again? And then, but that will buy Levy probably 3 years, probably, again. Yeah. And it will be in the same position 2-3 years, talking the same conversations. Oh, another manager's been sacked. Who's next?
And the thing is that too, right? Let's just say with Nagelsmann, we do the Poch way of okay, we will support him in 3 to 4 years, right? The thing is with this club, oh, Nagelsmann, you've gotten us to Champions League qualification, right? And you don't need any more players, so we will back you for a couple of windows, right? Because that was the problem with Poch, right? He got us there, and they were satisfied with the Champions League money, Champions League brand, but they didn't do more. And that's where you truly back your manager, when you do more, right, than what you have originally wanted him to do. And Arsenal, they're in a situation next season, no matter if they win the league or they finish second, see what does Kroenke does, and now, okay, win the Champions League, we finish second, all right, more investment now, maybe more depth, right? Saka, to his credit, is having a breakout, year. Okay, let's have a backup for him just in case he goes down. Because the greatest thing about Manchester City is the depth that they have. They're missing Phil Foden. They're not shedding a tear. He's gonna miss the Bayern game and the Liverpool game. They're not shedding a tear because Grealish, right? That's what backing a manager is. Not getting to the plateau, but climbing to the summit, putting more people, getting more players for the manager. And so, it's so with Nagelsmann, I feel that we'll probably get the Champions League or we'll play attractive football, but you probably won't get the center backs or the people that we need to play defense to go to the next level. That means winning trophies. Just want to read this by Mateo. I love this. Supporters said Jose was Levy's last chance. Then it was Nuno. Then it was Conte. He is an owner, so there's no such thing as last chance for Levy. And you're exactly right. You're exactly right. If it was another club, I would say because they protest. Arsenal, not City, United, Liverpool, they make things known. Real Madrid just trying to get rid of Ancelotti, who got him a Champions League last season. So with our fan base, yeah, it is true. I wouldn't say for the other fan bases because they put heat on the owners, but there's no heat on our owners, and that's why Levy is enabled to do what he does.
Do you know what else fans said, Murray, is Poch is a serial loser. Poch bottles everything. When we're playing this crazy attacking style under Poch, we can't win any trophies. He's too risky. He plays it too risky when we're ahead. We just need to be able to play pragmatic football when we're ahead to hold on to some wins. And now all of that, Poch is going to be our savior again, right? It's crazy again. That's what, there's lots of things I hear from people who are Conte out, and I don't necessarily disagree with them. I don't think the football has been great to watch. I disagree that it's Conte's fault. I think it's the players. I think that I think it would be great to have a manager that comes back and in place like Poch did. But I think people also kind of forget what they actually thought of Poch when he was here, because there was a lot of fans who did not like Poch's style and who thought it was time for him to go. A lot of people, I think, are changing their opinion of what they said at that time conveniently. But let's not pretend like it was super unpopular when Poch got sacked. When he got sacked, a lot of people were happy with that move.
They wanted him out.
And now we're seeing all of a sudden it was the greatest time, which I agree. I thought it was the greatest time, but I also love Poch. So but
we got Richie, which is I want to take a guess. It's Dan? Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Richie, give me your thoughts about the Conte sacking or him leaving. I gave my thoughts. Today was a great victory for Daniel Levy because there's no heat on him.
For me, I'm happy he's gone, man. I'm happy. I was one of those that was calling for him to go since before the World Cup,
Okay.
and even after, in January, I was calling for him to go even more.
Okay.
I'm just fed up with his style of football. That's one.
Okay.
I don't think he's worth 15 million a year when other coaches are making tactical substitutions in the game and he can't do anything in the game to respond to it, and he's getting dominated and he's just throwing the white flag. That pisses me off. He's getting paid 50 million a year. You have to try and do something. That pisses me off. And I don't like, my third reason I don't like Conte and why it was big for him to leave was the way he made us feel like he was bigger than us. Like we were lucky to have him here. I just didn't like that.
Okay.
Okay, what's your name, bro? What's your name, bro, by the way? Sorry, I missed that.
It's Richie.
Oh, Richie.
I
have a couple of questions for you, but Mari, you go first.
No, I'm just one of the questions I have is that, and I said this in another channel, the changes, the tactical changes were. I guess my question for you is, would you still be disappointed if he made those tactical changes or substitutions, and those players still failed, like bringing Tanganga, like those players failed? Would you still be upset, or
No.
Upset, he did attempt, or would you?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes. That's my whole thing.
them.
I don't care. I don't care if it didn't work or anything. Like you, how can you just sit there and just watch your team getting destroyed
I
and
get
not
that.
attempt to change anything? You know. And there were many games we were down a goal. We need a goal. He's bringing in defensive substitutions. That pissed me off, man. Why was he sticking with three at the back for most of the time when we needed a goal? Why not throw another attacker up there?
But we don't
Like
have
it
any
just doesn't
quality
make sense to
attackers
me.
to bring on, right?
Okay.
Like we didn't have
Okay.
anybody of quality on the bench that we could have brought on to make a difference. That's what I would say to that. Like
You think bringing on Davinson Sanchez is going to make a difference?
I don't think there was
Then
any. I don't think
who
there
else
was any
can he
sub
bring
at
on?
that point that he could have made that would have made a difference. I
Oh,
don't think there was any sub.
They
Like
could be
you're looking at who was on the bench, like Dan Juma. Dan Juma's
yeah.
garbage.
That's why. That's why he's
Lucas, I
brought
think
in.
that was
He
it.
scored. He's an attacking. He's an attacking threat. This guy scored goals against Juventus in Champions League.
Okay.
Yeah, but he
But I will
also
say
didn't score multiple games in La Liga. Like
But
we can't
also,
be saying that a guy's good because of 1 or 2 games in his
If you
career.
don't,
He's
if you don't
like
give him a
26
chance,
years
how are
old.
we gonna know? If you don't give him a chance, how are we gonna know that he's crap?
Well, if we don't give
Conte
Davinson
didn't want him,
Sanchez
so
a
why
chance,
would he
how do
play
we know
him?
he can't score?
He trains in day in, day out. If he's not training well, the manager won't play him. Yeah.
And
exactly.
Davinson
That's it.
Sanchez is
Lucas the
training
other
better.
option, so.
Davinson Sanchez is
Okay.
not in the starting 11 either.
No, I'm not saying bringing on Davinson Sanchez is a good move. I'm saying
Listen.
there was no good move. There
Listen.
was no good move.
They were
So
no
I'm not
good
going to get
Listen.
mad at a guy.
At the end of the
because he
day,
didn't
at
have
the
any
end of
good
the day,
options.
I am happy he is gone. That's just how it is. I'm happy. Good riddance. And he will never get another job in the Premier League. Mark my words.
I doubt that.
I doubt that.
I don't.
Seriously.
So
Which
sorry.
club?
I
Which
think
one
he
of the
might
top
never
6 clubs
coach
would
him.
ever hire him ever again?
Now currently,
Newcastle.
but I mean Newcastle, which I believe is will be there. If it doesn't work out with Eddie Howe, they may want to take a pragmatic, and they may get players. They may take a pragmatic approach and get him. I mean, his CV is good enough to get another chance. But my question for you is, right? He's gone. So the question, he's gone. Where, like, what do you want to see happen next, and do you believe it's going to happen? Because that's the question now. Conte is gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. So we could
Yeah.
argue about the past. So he's gone.
Yeah.
Do you want to see happen, and do you believe? That's the question. Do people believe what we want to happen next? Will it come to fruition? So that's my question to you, Richie. And thank you
Well,
for jumping on.
yeah, it's all good. So, what I want is a project manager with a plan. That's basically what I want. Somebody who can like come in and like a Pochettino, like Aiden Nagelsmann, somebody who can come in and play entertaining football, and who can like be develop the younger players also. I feel like that's what I want to this club, because if you can look at it, the most successful manager, not success as in like a trophy, but who's got us to places, was Pochettino, and he was like a project manager. It wasn't these serial winners that came and really did anything at our club.
Sorry.
So I don't think that's gonna happen though. But I don't know. But that's what I would want.
But
I
when
know we
Poch
cannot
wanted
say
a project, Levy said no and sacked him. So why is it going to be different now?
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm saying I don't think that's gonna happen. But that's what I
Fair enough.
want.
No,
That's what I was
I
asked.
get you. Fair enough.
But would
fair
you
enough.
really believe?
So-
So what's your name?
Go ahead.
Sorry. All right, sorry. Is it
Richie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Richie.
really believe and trust Levy will see through a proper project? I'm not saying get into the Champions League and
Mate,
stop it. I'm saying to
the
actually,
question I
get
was
us to win
asked, the
something.
question I was asked was what I want. What I want is a project. What I don't think it will happen. I just said that.
No, I'm because obviously we're looking at a project manager anyway, like Nagelsmann. Is managers like that we've been linked with, so we're probably going to go down that route.
I can
think.
well we have to hope and see, man. We have to hope and see. We'll see what
I'm saying,
happens.
do you believe
can't
that
predict
Levy
the
will see
future.
through the project? I'm not. I'm
Richie,
asking
I have a
you.
question for you.
I can't, like I said to you, I can't predict the future. I don't know. We'll see when it happens.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, I'm just
has
asking
hold
if you
on,
think
hold
it's
on a
gonna
minute, hold
happen.
on a minute. Richie, I have a question for you. Do you really think that Conte's football was not attacking rather than it was a defensive style of football? Do you really
Yes, I
think that?
do. Yeah, I do.
Uh, and do you know that actually we have scored the third most goals in the Prem? Do you know that?
Yeah. What's that got to do with anything?
Yeah, I'm coming there. I'm coming there. So the fact that we have scored third most goals in the Premier League, and
Hmm.
yet we are not getting the points and all that. Do you still think that that was a problem? That Conte's style of football was very defensive?
Yeah, it was because there was a lot of games on the eye. When I'm watching the games, I'm falling asleep most of the times. So of
Yeah,
course
but
we were
but if
scoring goals.
you are
Listen,
falling,
listen.
That
Let
can
me tell you
happen under
something. The
Nuno
only
sorry,
reason
Espirito
we're
as
sorry.
well,
scoring
right?
goals is because we have an incredible striker in Harry Kane.
Uh huh.
If we didn't have Harry Kane, we would not be in that third in goals in the league.
Okay.
Never.
Okay, but we have scored goals, right?
We have,
Even if
yeah,
Harry
yeah,
Kane
we
is not
have,
scoring
we have,
goals,
yeah,
it does mean that the style of play has not been defensive, because
yeah,
if you talk about defensive football, it's like the way Chelsea were playing under Thomas Tuchel for the most time until the end
mm,
of last season. That's really like
yeah,
defensive football. But if your
yeah,
striker is regularly scoring goals, you know that football is not just one player sport. 11 players do play together. If your striker is scoring goals, it does mean that he's getting the support from the team, and that's why he's scoring goals. So if you are telling me
yeah.
that being third in the league, we are a defensive style of play. Do you have you realized that actually what kind of positions our players are usually in the team when we are struggling, and why have you been falling asleep? I mean, just try to think. Are we all the way deep lying in the back, or are we somewhere in the middle? We are just failing to score goals.
We're
The
all the way in the back. We're tucked in all the way in the back, and we can't even get out of our half most of the times. I would say.
No, that's not
And
true.
when we do, and no, listen, let me talk. When we do get out of the way, there's no creative ideas in the final third. It
That's
always
because of the
dies.
players.
Yeah, that's on the
Yeah,
players. So I agree
it
with your
is on the
second
players.
one, but but
But
I
listen,
I
listen, listen,
disagree with the
listen,
first
listen,
one.
listen to this, right? How come the football was great for the last 10 games of last season? Well, how come it couldn't be translated this season
Because we
when
were
we
playing
spent
bad teams
almost
that were
150
checked out on
million
the end of the
on the
season.
squad, and it was a better squad. And this whole third thing you were telling me about for the most goals, Jose Mourinho scored the most goals with his Real Madrid team in Spain, but the fans wanted him out because of his style of football. So what are you telling me?
Real Madrid is different, bro. Real Madrid is
Oh,
different.
bro,
They
it's the
they they
same
want to win
concept I'm
titles.
speaking about. It's the same
Yeah,
concept
they
of
are.
defensive football. I know there's this, they're different, but it's the same concept.
I
But
think
we were not. Sorry, continue.
Anyways, man, I gotta go break my Ramadan fast, man. You guys take care, bro.
oh no,
You guys,
thank you,
man. But
Richie.
yeah,
Anytime,
yeah,
anytime.
bro. Hey, appreciate you, man. All right, all right.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Take care, mate.
Um,
Take care.
the I'm getting
Whenever you
statement.
get onto this topic with them, they have to break some fast usually. Never mind. But it's a bizarre argument, to be honest, Mari. I'll be very honest with you. Like, seriously, his style of football is not defensive. Like, if you realize the games, if you analyze the games, failing to score goals is not that your football is defensive. I'll be very honest. That's where you have to point out that you are lacking creativity and you're lacking creation. That's not defensive football. It's a midfield problem rather than you're saying that, yeah, you're lying all the way in the deep. And it's bizarre. I mean, we are not at sitting way back to just wait for the opponent. That was not our football, in my opinion. I'll be honest here.
Yeah, and it's interesting because and I'll mention these guys because they've been Sky Sports. They have a bigger platform, but I'll just leave Queen, and it's done. Absolutely gutted. It hasn't worked out, and yet again we are without a manager. Chris Cowlin says
Oh
Conte
my.
gone.
Oh.
Listen to this. Conte's gone. Here we go again. We need a clear direction to show the ambition, and most importantly, we need a plan. How many times have we been here? Since Poch left in November 2019, we have gone around in circles. The fans deserve better from the players, manager, and board. That's a lot coming from Chris. That is a lot. But straight enough, I like the responses more than most see here because it is embarrassing that we lost versus with this guy. It is embarrassing. You know, I mean, people will go back to the tactics. Is it just the tactics? It hasn't worked out. It didn't work out because we don't have a plan. We didn't have a plan for him to succeed. And so it's funny that in some strange way, Chris and Lee kind of get it more than most of the people on Twitter. And we call them sometimes the happy clappers. So that's.
But the thing with Chris Cowlin and people like him, they always put the same stuff. Oh, we need a plan. Oh, we need to be ambitious. But then when it push comes to shove, and
like that earlier guy, basically, you ask them for the substance, you ask them for the reasoning, they don't have any answer about that.
No, but I'm saying these people with bigger platforms will put out this narrative, like Chris say he's ambitious, and I'm not saying he's not ambitious. He doesn't want us to win things. But when the people need to be held accountable for the failure of this football club and never get held accountable, how can you expect any change? There's a reason why we're not ambitious. He has been going around in circles. He's gone around in circles. So who hired all these managers?
Yeah, I'll give them credit because they've been better than some of the other people, and those comments are great. But the problem is, and this is maybe what Haz was getting to too, is that once they hire the next manager, it'll be, oh, everything's great. Everything is fixed. We're all wonderful again, right? And that's. But to be fair to them, they're right. At least their comments, those that you just read out, those are a lot better takes than I've heard from other people, right? But I think is what the problem is when you get to Cowlin and especially Lee McQueen, is that once we hire a new manager and nothing actually changes, they'll be right back. Okay, now we're ready. We're going to challenge for the league. Everything is great. Let's get all on board. And if people are out there still protesting, they'll still be. Why are these idiots out there protesting? Right? We have to get behind the next manager. We have to give this new manager a chance. And they'll just be repeating the same nonsense that they always do because they say a few nice things, which is great, but they never actually stick to it. They never actually hold it. And it ends up that their comments are meaningless because if you just jump right back on just when the new manager is hired, well, nothing's actually fixed. Nothing actually changes. But I'll give them credit because what you said, Mari, I think both of those were reasonable statements that they made.
Yeah, I mean, just look at it. The fact that the earlier guy, he actually does realize that the last 10 games of the season, we did play attacking football, in his opinion. And yet they are saying that, okay, why would a manager want to play if he can play attacking football? Why would a manager want to turn into a defensive style of game if something has won him in the past? Is he deliberately playing defensive football just because he wants to lose and get a mark of a loser in his CV, as in his only job that he has had over the last 10 years that is not winning a trophy? And yet we blame the manager. I don't understand the narrative because it has no substance in it, really. Like, come on, man. I mean, like, this argument makes me kind of like mad because a lot of times it has no substance.
But it was frustrating when he says it. I don't even necessarily disagree with it, right? When he says, why do we have problems when we're trying to play out from the back? Yes, we do. We do have problems because our center backs are Dyer and Davies, and they can't do that. Well, why doesn't he change it and do something different? Because the people on the bench are Tanganga and Sanchez, who can't fix anything, or Longley, who is at best marginally better, right? Like he doesn't change anything. How come our players don't just go out and full on attack? Because our midfield is Skip and Højbjerg and Sarr, who have specific skills. None of them have the skills of keeping possession of the ball, progressing the ball forward, beating men in the midfield so that we can have an attack, making those creative passes, consistently. I know Ellie will point out that one time Højbjerg did make a key pass, but I mean, he consistently can't do it, right? Yeah. He's not a Modric-like player, not level, but similar player in that. He does not have the passes, or a Brozovic he had at Inter. He doesn't have that skill set. That's why we can't do it. So, we can agree with him, right? I don't think anybody sorry, maybe I shouldn't speak for the panel, but I'm not sure that any of us think that we're playing amazing football. Like this is beautiful
No.
champagne football. We agree with that, right? It's not been the best, but you can say this is bad football and not Conte's fault. It's on the players, and that's where I think a lot of the issues that I have. And just with that guy, but good enough. He has his opinions, right? He's fair enough to bring it up. I think that you can agree with some things, but just disagree on the reasons for it, and that's where we are now for the next.
And the
we'll
thing is, and the thing is, because they say they want something different from Conte. More power to you, but they don't believe it's going to happen. So it's almost like it's a circle. It's a shit show. It is definitely a shit show. It's frustrating, and people are going to now say this new manager is going to be a savior, but the problem is, it's I want to believe it, but it's just who's in charge, and that's Conte, and apparently Paratici will be looking at the new search. I have my opinions about Paratici, but honestly, this is going to be hilarious. It's going to be hilarious.
I just don't understand how he stays on though, Mari, with everything that's going on, and I never liked him, so I'll put my bias right up front. I was not happy when we hired him. I thought there was a lot of red flags coming from Juventus. With everything that's going on with his legal issues, and with, let's be honest, before Conte came in, his managerial, the managers we were linked to were all not. I don't think Fonseca and Gattuso, and then finally Nuno. Like that wasn't. I just think it's time to sack Paratici as well. With all the legal issues going on, there's got to be justification to get out of that deal, right? Like I'm not a lawyer, but I have to think that with everything going on, you're justified. I think just bring in a completely new mindset to the club.
I had a segment. It was actually that I put on the chat. You were a managerial candidate. I was actually that segment before this breaking news came out. I almost want to see. I know it's not going to happen. I almost want to see if it's Poch or Nagelsmann, right? Where Daniel Levy, right? Let's just say Nagelsmann comes in and says, "Hey, look, I would really like to work under a director of football. I saw that you just sacked Paratici, because that would need to happen first. Is there any way you could get Paul Mitchell to come back, and Paul Mitchell will work with Poch, and not only he'll work with Poch, he will have the keys to the kingdom. This is my dream scenario, and then they will have the capabilities to do their job and build this team. Same for Nagelsmann. But there's just no belief that that's going to happen. It's an honor. I've come back to streaming, and it is an honor to have back one of the true heroes of streaming world, my good friend Bob. Bob, I bigged up you earlier because you were right. I'm going to say this before I let you have your say. You were right because remember, because people have a revisionist history. Remember when we first got Conte, everybody was jizzing in their pants saying we got Conte in, right? And that hope was that it forces the hand for Levy and the board to back Conte, because if it didn't happen, this will be the manager that everybody will be upset and say Levy is on you on the board. Or it could go the way about where the club finds a way to make him scapegoat and Levy get away with it. So my title today is, for today, Levy wins again. He won again because of the, I guess, the boring football Conte plays superseded the fact that Levy and the board has failed the manager again, and now people are celebrating on Twitter that Levy's the hero of getting rid of the boring manager. So Levy wins again. Levy wins again because this was supposed to be the manager that put feet in the fire. That did not happen. Levy gets away with it. The evil genius that he is gets away with it again. And Bob, you said it. You said it. You said it.
Yeah, I wish I was wrong, man. I wish I was wrong. But I think it was never ever going to work if Lenik didn't do what they're supposed to do. And yeah, I'm absolutely gutted. I know there seems to be some form of celebration going on out there. Yeah, I'm so happy. I'm over the moon. I'm this and that, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. Of course, would never sit here and say the way you feel, the way you act, you rejoicing in manager getting sacked is wrong. Everyone's entitled. But I think the poor football, the negative football, the shit performances, the poor results has blinded a lot of people, and they're failing to see the bigger picture. I am gutted, and my football club has yet again brought in a serial winner, fact, a manager who's won trophy after trophy and has failed him again. And people still refuse to either see the bigger picture or don't see the bigger picture. They're blinded by the shine of this new stadium. And yeah, Conte's not failed. We failed. We failed. We've failed. And people laughing and joking and celebrating the fact that he's gone just shows where our fan base are at the moment, just not only mentality wise, but yeah, the situation.
Yeah, and I'm seeing it. And the funny, weird thing is, I just read a quote from Lee McQueen and Chris Collin. I'm more about today, and so called it a sad day than most people on Twitter. I mean, isn't it ironic? Those two, who we call them happy clappers, the ones who say, this is not good that we just got rid of a serial manager. We still don't have a plan while everybody else is celebrating. So I just find it ironic. Those two were able to figure out what you're saying, Bob, and the others are not seeing it. So it's hilarious.
What I'm starting with, Bob, and good to see you. And unfortunately, under these, what I would say, I would agree with you,
man.
like not really happy times is what I'm confused about the people who you're talking about celebrating and happy and this is great. I haven't heard how this improves the club.
Yeah.
You may not like Conte, fair enough.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of people are talking about a reset, and we were talking about it earlier, but even the people that I hear say reset don't think it's actually going to happen because Levy has shown in the past that he won't make the moves that we need, right, to do a proper reset. And I'll say again, if we're doing a reset, we need to make sure we have quality personnel people, quality scouts, quality people picking out those players. Because if we think it's bad when we have bad transfers, but we still have Kane, Son, Conte, Bentancur here, imagine what's going to happen when we're selling them off to reset. And now we're making bad choices on the young players we bring in. That's how your club, people are worried about our club falling down to the Everton levels. If we try to reset this club and we don't have people who are quality, making smart transfer decisions, that's a quick way to get down to those levels, right? So that's what concerns me is celebrating, because I just don't see how this makes us better as a club, short term, long term, anyway. We're worse off, I think, now than we were when we fired Poch, right? We're worse
100%, 100. But Scott, you mentioned the reset, and I know a lot of people speak of it. And my apologies, I missed that conversation earlier. But is there a way we can reset anything in this club without pointing the finger at the hierarchy, looking at Lenik?
No.
The reset has to be from right at the top, and this reset, bringing in a project manager, a building manager, a winning on the sea. I don't see how any of that works. That's why I asked the question on Twitter. Nagelsmann, yes, no, or irrelevant, and I'd say about 65% went irrelevant, and it's true. This reset. There's only one place the reset is needs to start from, and we all know where. But it's just unfortunate, and in a way, understanding. If Conte had gone in the summer when we were finished fourth, beating Arsenal, had Sonny as a Golden Boot winner, if he'd turned around and had that run and then left, then I think you would have seen a bigger. But the fact that the football's not been great, we're just about winning games, I think that's blinded a lot of judgment, and people are failing to see the bigger picture. And I can't. Mason in, for God knows how.
Mason
I've been saying Mason in, God knows how many times, because it is irrelevant getting anyone else in, man.
Yeah, and that's why I say the first thing that came to my mind, Daniel Levy has won, because as Bob says it, people are blinded. They're so blinded to the fact that, and despite of the terrible football, we finished the season, well, the chances that we would have finished fourth, I wouldn't say would still been a good chance. But then again, he did say, I need 2 windows, summer windows, 3 summer windows to be. And then, the narrative is, well, he has to show commitment. Well, the reason why he has shown commitment, because he's looked at the signings, and really, they're not to his liking. And so, it's a rinse repeat process. And for me, I like Nagelsmann, but if I believe that he's going to be back, no, I don't think he's going to be back. And you so well, Scott, that situation is much worse than when Poch came in, because we got Lo Celso coming back, we got Winks coming back, we got Tanguy coming back, right? That we got to get rid of, right? Then,
mate, someone put a tweet out earlier saying, "Watch the likes of Celso and Dembele go under the next manager. It's the best." And I'm thinking, what the fuck, man? We are not. If a choice between Conte at the helm and us winning trophies, and then Dembele and a Lo Celso in the squad winning trophies, I don't think there's a comparison. Again, there was another someone mentioned of big up Phil, just been on Savers show, and he was saying, the shoots are there. The shoots are there in Harry Kane, Sonny, Bentancur, and Kulusevski, and we need to build it. I can kind of see what he was saying, because I think we talked about the attraction of coming to Spurs with the players. We've got the best number 9/10 in the world, hands down. In my opinion, he's the best in the world. Yeah, Sonny, he's hopefully coming back to form. We've got a couple of really good players. Romero needs to tighten up his fucking game, because he's been shit. So he needs to sort that out. We've got nucleus. We've got the numbers. Okay, even if it's just Harry Kane, we've got a world-class player there. But talking of growing, having these green shoots and having the base of a good team, we've had that many a times. We had it in the summer. We had a Bentancur who was playing great. We had a Kulusevski. We had a Romero who was playing great. We had a Golden Boot winner. We had a Harry Kane who's coming to the fore. We had everything in place in the summer. So why people are suddenly thinking by Conte going, it's all going to change now? Someone's going to come in with a magic wand, but someone's going to come in with a magic wand and change the whole environment, the mindset, the culture of this club, with still Lenik at the hierarchy. I think it's complete bullshit, and it's such a shame. Everyone's told to their opinion. I know Scott doesn't like going down there. Everyone likes going to the opinion, because sometimes opinions are bullshit. Everyone is entitled to an opinion, but it's a shame that it's so many people are blinded by it. The shit football, the shit performances, the negative football has blinded a lot of people. But when you stand back and look at the bigger picture, we had the best manager available out there when he came to this club.
Yep.
Bar Pep, regardless of what I thought, and Klopp, regardless of what I think of him. We had the best manager in world football that came to our football club, and we failed him. He didn't fail. we failed him. And until people stand back and look at the big picture and realise that, hey, Mason in.
Yeah.
I'm on Bob at this point,
Yeah.
Mason. In.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I just love the revisionist history because everybody was jizzing in their pants when we got Conte. The whole mafia, Godfather, the whole hoopla about it. And then now they're like, well, you know, it was never going to work out. Right? We shame on us. We got fooled once again by the board. Not everybody, but I was trying to be hopeful. I love this club. Bob loves this club. Has and Elias and Scott, we love this club. And we thought for a glimmer of hope that, okay, maybe this board would get the act together because they have Conte, who's not going to take any bullshit. But as Bob has said it, and I said it again, Levy has won because the style and play of football has blinded people about the bigger picture. And thank you, Bob, for jumping on, and it's an honor to have you.
And he's
back. Yeah.
It's not even just that he won't take the bullshit. It's almost as much as there's no point to bring him in and not buy the kind of players that he uses, right? Like with Potts, you could kind of, as dumb as it was, you could somewhat at least justify it because he didn't have a backing. He didn't have a background behind him. It's still stupid. But with Conte, we all know what he was. Even the people that don't like him know what he was. So, like, that's as much what I thought. I thought if you're going to bring in Conte, why bring him in and then
why bring him in?
Yeah, that makes no sense because there was there was no illusions. It wasn't nobody's surprised about what Conte is. Again, even the people that don't like him know exactly what you do, and even many of them will say, if you do those things, he would have had success here, right? Many of the people celebrating will admit that he would have had success, but so why bring him in and then treat him the way that you have? It makes no sense. It's baffling.
It was a band-aid move, wasn't it, Scott? It was a band-aid move.
Yeah, reaction.
It was a band-aid. It kept some of the fan base happy. People like myself, Stell, I think yourself certainly, Scott, and many people out there were kind of like, we don't see it. Why is it going to suddenly change in 22 years back then or 21 years back then? That's where I'm at now. Nagelsmann, as great he may be, I don't see the point. Pochettino, I don't. But there's talk of Paratici as well. I know you guys discussed it earlier. You know, if he's done a good job, if he's done a bad job, is neither here or there. If he's got a job, we don't even know where the fuck is going to be in a few months. You know, it's again irrelevance, and that's where the club is at this time moment. We're just an irrelevance. Someone asked me, my 8-year-old. He goes, so who was it? There was a club. They had a nickname basically, Red Devils. That's it. Why are they called the Red Devils? Right? And I go, yeah, because of history and all this. They go, what are Spurs called? He's 8 years old. I go, we're known as the Arwell Club because everything's Arwell. That's the best way to sum us up. We're something fucks up, something goes haywire, and the fan base will sit there and go, oh well. So we're known as the Arwell Club within our household.
Going off that, Bob, like, do you think if we hire Nagelsmann, do you think we're hiring him because that was a planned way that we had to go, or is it because look, he got sacked from Bayern, we can quickly jump on him, right? And I think that's what most of us would want. Even me, I'll say, like, if I saw a plan, that's what I want. Let's see a plan. But even if we hire Nagelsmann, who I said I wanted ahead of Conte, he was my number one choice. I liked him. I love everything about him. But I just feel like even if we hire him now, it's just because, here's another guy who's available. We can bring him in. The fans will be happy. Like,
that's it. That's it. It's the fans, isn't it, Scott?
There's no plan to bringing him in. Maybe, I mean, they could, right? Maybe they could. Maybe they could make the adjustments and create a plan. So I'm not saying it's just automatically a bad hire, but I would just be so suspect that the reason we hired him is because Bayern got rid of him. Lots of fans want him. It's an easy fix. People think, and you've probably heard it, right? We bring him in, we're playing good football next year. Like, that's not going to happen. but people will say it. Oh, here he is. We're playing good football. Hoiberg and Dyer and Davies are going to be making these wonderful passes. We're going to watch Ollie Skipper
Dyer, oh my God.
is going to make the passes that Christian Eriksen used to make. Right here we are.
Yeah.
We're back to great football, and it screams to me another case of exactly what you're saying. Just a reactionary move, bring in this name with no thought behind it, and we've seen how it doesn't work. It does not work at all.
It's a convenience, isn't he? He's a convenience appointment right now. And he will, unfortunately, Scott, we all know it, he will appease unfortunately, majority of the fan base.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if we brought Poch right now, I bet you're looking at 80% approval rating from if you look at Twitter.
100%.
People are excited. Here we go. We're back to Spurs way. As I was talking earlier, we were talking with Haz and Mari and Elias. I said, remember, when he left, it wasn't like people weren't – there were some people who were upset, but the fan base were – pretty much like, yeah, Poch has to go. All the problems with Poch, right? So, but it'll be everybody will be happy. It'll all be happy. Everything's coming back. We're playing amazing football again, and it'll just be the same cycle.
Yeah. We
just repeat another 2-year cycle. That's what I said this before we came on, but we'll just repeat another 2-year cycle.
Did you say 2 or 23? Sorry.
No, I mean as in 2 years of for the manager.
Yeah. No,
he'll come in for 18 months. We'll get sacked, and then
we're back to square one, man. Back to square one. Then we'll see who's another ex-Chelsea manager out there out of a job.
Yeah.
We'll try and get
him at Real Madrid, and then he might be available.
Fraud Potter.
Yeah. Elias, I don't know where you are with it, but I don't know if you're celebrating. I know the likes of Sav. Understanding, I know where he's coming from. He's sick and tired, and Coover to an extent, sick and tired of the football. So there is that part that's thinking, thank fuck he's gone. We're done with the shit football. We're not going to go anywhere with this football club anyway. At least we can go away. So I can understand that. But the bigger picture, when you but the bigger picture is unfortunately a lot of people are blinded by it. And I think it's a shame. I'm absolutely gutted. It's a long time. It's not a surprise. It's not a surprise that he's gone. And it has been shit football. It has the football this season has been shit, really bad. The performances. There's no denying that, and it's not a surprise that he's gone. But now it's actually happened. I'm absolutely gutted. Half of me is gutted because he's gone and we found yet a manager, and a majority, the other half. I'm gutted about the fact that majority of our fan base can't see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the thing is, too, just the reaction from last Saturday from his comments, the reason why it's been shit football, and you guys complain about tactics is, he's saying, do we have the players? Do we have the players who can be disciplined to the tactics? He said this not once, but twice, but 3 times within the interview. I tried to hold in exact words from Jose to Poch. Some of these players are not disciplined. The reason why you're seeing some of this dross football is partly to the players. No one's perfect. I say this all the time. You have every right to question the government, the authority, your priest, your rabbi, your pastor, whoever. You have a right to question that person because they're not perfect. But to say the dross football is 100% on Conte and not the players, the same players who have been on that field from losing to the chocolate bars, the Rocher de Ferreira to Zagreb, these same players, Ferreira de Rocher, I mean, it's, and then people say, well, is a B team Sheffield United team better than our club? For that day, they are. The heart, the passion, they play for the badge. I always say this: you can have the greatest talent and you can have the greatest tactic, but if your players are undisciplined and they don't have the heart and spirit to play out on that day, they can be beaten. And that's why we have underdogs beating teams that are favorite, because on that day, that team wanted it more. I'm watching Sheffield's B players run after the loose balls. They're playing more of a team than our team. So yes, and that's what Conte, Poch, and Jose complained about. Our players, whenever the kitchen gets hot, they run out the kitchen.
But Mari, unfortunately, and I don't know if you guys agree with me, Conte deserves to get sacked. You know, with his performances, with the way the team's playing, he deserves to get sacked. Now, why his team's we're playing the way we are, why we don't have the players to fit his formation, why he's not been able to bring his winning mentality to the club, to the team, there is that bigger picture.
Yep.
But why he's failed in his job, there is a bigger picture. But does he deserve to be sacked? Unfortunately, the performances and the results and his little rant proves that he does.
I understand where you're coming from, but I think again, like it's if you say that, then I think you're also saying that in a way that Levy and Enoch have failed him rather than he has failed the club.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So if somebody put it that way, I completely agree. But again, the core issue is Levy and Enoch. Let's just say if he would have been at a club that is ambitious enough to give him the kind of players that he wants, rather than the kind of players that are good future prospect that brings in good money, like the kind of stuff that we have done with Jet Spence and just the make do sort of things, I don't think he would have faced these kind of issues. And again, I mean, he's a human, and I mean, just look at it, the Twitter, the amount of arguments we have every single day, and the amount of stuff that have to deal with. Unfortunately, you come to a point where you're just so jaded, and I think Conte reached that point as well. Like, you're just
Yes,
so
true,
sick
that's
of
true.
it. You're just so
Yeah.
sick of it, explaining all those people and explaining all those people, like, what do you really need, what is really needed in this club, and then you just give up. And I think he reached that due to this fan base, the amount of shit that they've been calling out on Twitter, on the streams and all that, the Conte out, and you just can't do much. I mean, he said it himself, like, this fan base is just impatient.
Also, I want to say another thing. Did anyone see that Football Insider story about Lukaku and De Vrij?
Yeah, I heard about
Apparently, Conte with Lukaku and De Vrij, and Levy said no because he didn't want to sanction signings for players like that age, because they're 30 and 31. And it says in the article, because Levy and Spurs want to sign players, young players with potential for the future. So, like, to me, it just sums it all up, really.
It is why I get frustrated when you hear, like, oh, we can't compete with Man City and the oil money. I mean, if we would have got De Vrij instead of Longley, how much better are we this year, right? If we would have got that, wouldn't have cost. That's not oil money.
He's
We
like
would have
5
got
million,
somebody
10
like
million, wasn't it, I
Porro
think?
instead of
Yeah.
Spence. It
Yeah.
doesn't. I don't know about, you know what, like that level of player. Like, how much better are we? Those are two simple moves that we just didn't do. But
it shouldn't be
it's
hard
the
for
age.
it shouldn't be hard for a team that's 8th to 10th richest club on the planet, and for bringing in what £106 million per match day. It shouldn't be that hard to go a few £1 million more to get the right
De
players.
Vrij was worth like 10 million, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Like that. Yeah.
Guys, I got work in 5 hours, so yeah, I want to come on
Yeah, I've
and
got
have
to
my
head off
little
as
break.
well. So
But big
Yes.
up, man.
Right
Big
here.
up. I'll carry on watching. I'll sleep with you in my ear, Mari.
All right, brother.
Yeah, man. Big up, guys. See you later.
Yeah, see you, man.
Take care, Bob.
I
I've
was
got to head
gonna
off as well because I've got work tomorrow too. So or today.
all right, guys.
Yeah, take
Thank
care,
you.
man. Thanks for having me on.
good
Yeah.
night, Has.
Good night.
Yeah, I'll go on a few minutes. I'll probably jump on some other shows. I will say this, you know, to your last point about De Vrij and Lukaku. All right. So that's why I say we are a club not only without plan, but without an identity. We don't know our DNA is. We do not. We think we know, but we don't know. We don't really know what we truly are. Because if you are about develop young players, like an Ajax or Borussia Dortmund or Leipzig, I can get that. I can understand that. You hire a Nagelsmann, and say, hey, right, we're a club that is going to start with 17, 18-year-olds, and by the time they hit 25, we sell them, and this is how we'll get success. So be it. Okay, I get that. That's Borussia Dortmund. That's their how they're structured with their club, right? Same with Ajax, right? And they've won trophies here and there. But Borussia Dortmund has won Bundesliga, right? With that model, I get that. But you go get your DNA. It's weird because you hire Conte, who's a win now, not the type to say, okay, I'm gonna grab an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old, with the exception maybe of Borrell, very talented, but and you want a win now manager, right? You get that. So, like Stell says, every manager wants to win now, right? So you bring him in, right? And he tells you these are the people I need to not only get top 4, but to get trophies. You tell him no. So you want top 4, but you think you have a better chance with a one for the future player. It's confusing. What do you want? If I'm in front of the board, in front of Levy, what the hell you want? Like pick something and run with it. You're confused. You're mixing the back. Like Chelsea, they're gonna spend to win. Young and old, we spend to win, and that's their motto. Liverpool, their philosophy kind of should what we should be doing, right? You know what philosophy of how they build their team and what type of play that they want. Same for City, and now same for with Ten Hag with United. We don't have an identity, mind you. Tuchel, I'll say this: Tuchel was hired by Bayern. He was supposed to come in on Tuesday. He's pragmatic. He's not the free-flowing footballer. So it's confusing. I'm confused. I'm confused.
Yeah, it's what we do, right? It's always reaction. There's no justification of a plan. Even when Jose came in, right? We supposedly wanted him for so long, but you can't tell me that they had planned on bringing him in. Like the plan there was to keep Poch, but then he got off to that terrible start. So they say, okay, let's bring him in. Now we're going to quickly bring in Jose, and then they didn't say, okay, now we have him in. Let's back him with players that he wants. We brought in Matt Doherty, a right wing back. How does that fit in with how Jose has ever played? Joe Rodon, Gedson Fernandez, right? Then that doesn't work. Fair enough. Okay, we're going to bring somebody in. We're going to wait 72 days to bring somebody in. We're going to bring in Gattuso. That's who we want. Oh, the fans put a Gattuso out thing on Twitter. So nope, we can't go with him. We're going to go bring Nuno. Like how? And I was one of them who criticized Nuno heavily because I don't think he's a manager that even if he would have got every player he wanted would have had success at Spurs. But even he didn't get his players. But how can you think? How is there any thought in the world that what we need right now is Nuno Espirito Santos? Like it never made any sense. So then you bring him in, and shockingly, it doesn't work. And then you hear fans saying, "Levy out, Levy out, Levy out." Now you say, "Uh-oh, we're in trouble. We better bring in Conte." Even though in the summer, when you talked about bringing him in, and you had all the time to get everything in place, it didn't work out, right? We already saw that was the time to bring him in that summer. But you talked to him, and it didn't make sense for whatever reason. Might have been on his part, might have been on their part. But whatever happened in the summer, it didn't work out. But then you panic and you bring him in the middle of the season. Don't give him anything that he needs. Do nothing. What have we done other than people could say Perisic? That's the only move you could say makes sense for Conte. That doesn't mean that players like Kulu and Bentancur didn't work, but those aren't moves that you make specifically for Conte. Those are just moves that worked out for the club. And then now he's gone, and like you said, let's bring in Tuchel. That's your plan? Bring in another pragmatic manager that would have all the exact same issues. That's our plan. Or maybe Nagelsmann just got sacked by Bayern. Maybe we can get him. Like there's no plan because there can't be a plan to have Nagelsmann because you didn't know he was available till 6 days ago.
Exactly.
Mind you, he also plays 3 at the back. By the way, I pointed it out the other day, and he plays 4 in the midfield. Like his midfield is not the kind of midfield like he plays a wing
Or
back.
the back.
I mean, I'd
It's
love
a-
him. Like again, I'll say it again. I would love him to be our manager if we had the people running Liverpool at our club. If we had, the people running Leipzig at our club. If we had the people running Bayern at our club. But with Levy and Enoch, bring in Nagelsmann makes so little sense.
No
But you're right,
sense.
Elias. He does play three at a back. Like that's the frustrating thing too. Is he would fit. He would be a good manager for what we want. For what so many people talk about, he fits the bill, but he won't
No.
get the backing. So
You don't even have four
doesn't
good
matter. Who cares?
midfielders available. You don't even have four good midfielders available at this time of the season. You only have Skip, Højbjerg, and Sar. He plays four in the middle
if we're
with
going
one
forward.
more.
But I mean, going
One
forward,
more.
like, we could buy quality players, right, Elias, in the summer? Not Levy, but theoretically a club could. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
who knows?
You could buy quality players, but Spurs can't. But another club.
But I think with Nagelsmann, it might come to a point Levy might say, okay, I can give you Lo Celso and Dombele, play Bissouma as the deep lying midfielder in that system. Three at the back, you play Dyer, Romero, and Davies again, or Sanchez, maybe, who knows. And then play either Son or Kane up front. Who, like, seriously, I don't see I can see why Levy is going for someone like Nagelsmann, because he can make use of all the players that he has out on loan. And that would be a very, very cheap thing to do, considering Levy, if he brings in like Nagelsmann, because any other manager will demand a lot more from this board, and he would not give him.
Exactly. The perfect person, right? If we got Nagelsmann, the first person that would need to be needed in that midfield, who would kind of be like when he was at Dortmund, not at Dortmund. I'm thinking of this player that's at Dortmund, who would be a perfect person, right? I was gonna say Marco Reus, right? The Premier League version of Marco Reus that would be perfect for Nagelsmann if he comes to Spurs would be James Maddison. But, right, we're not the club that's going to pay 70 to 65 to 70 to 80 mil for James
It's
Maddison.
about 80 mil actually. It's about 80 mil. It's about 80 mil actually.
80 mil, yeah. James Maddison would be perfect, right? The first signature signing for Nagelsmann. But we're not going to do that because we're going to go for, I don't know, $6 million rated, $5 million rated, Joe Blow. Not saying Joe Blow can't pan out, but Madison's 24, 25, right smack. He's still young enough, right smack in the middle of about his prime to be able to play in the middle, right? Are there people better than James Madison? Yeah, there are a couple, but Premier League proven, and would be a perfect signature signing. But do you trust our club to do that? No, right?
No.
And so it's just it's frustrating, really. And like I said, the highlight of the day, the title of the day is Daniel Levy wins again. I think that's more than Conte leaving, because we knew Conte is not coming back. We knew for a week, but it's just a reaction that I'm seeing. It is just like
Hilarious.
we won a trophy. It's like we just won the FA Cup. And I'm just like, wow. I'm like, wow. People really, as Bob said, were so blinded by the boring football that they forgot the bigger picture. And as Daniel Levy and the board has failed again with a manager, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. It really, really is. But for people that they said if this didn't work out, people find a way to blame the manager and not the board, and it's happened.
Well, 100%. In 18 months from now, you'll be hearing, oh, that Nagelsmann style, that RB Leipzig style doesn't work in the Premier League. He can't do it. It works in the Bundesliga. You can't play that style in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Guaranteed in 18 months, that's what you'll hear.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
Let's keep
you're
it.
here. I mean,
Let's
if
keep
you hear people, and as ridiculous as it sounds, you know what they say about Klopp. Oh, people are finally figure out Klopp. It doesn't work anymore at Liverpool. And mind you, he's won the Premier League and the Champions League and some
He's won
trophies.
everything that he can win.
Yeah, and then I say that. Can you imagine our fan base after 2 seasons of the Eagles saying, "Give me time. You know, I'm not being completely back." They're gonna have him gone, pitchforks and everything. You're gonna have him gone. It's a rinse and repeat.
It's
It's a
silly.
rinse and it is.
But at least the Liverpool fans, a big part of them, they do put a pressure on their ownership. Like if you look at their channels, you look at their socials. I know there are some that maybe they want Klopp out, like they are just one or two idiots either on their channels and all that. But our side, majority of us, so we blame the manager. They do know that actually their problem is FSG, despite the fact that under FSG they have won more than us, but they do know the problem is FSG, and they criticize that main issue that FSG is. Whereas on our side, we always criticize the managers. That frustrates me.
yeah.
At
But
least with
FSG,
Liverpool, it's because like if people, I think Klopp out is crazy, even though I can't stand Klopp myself. But at least they're saying it because it's like we have high standards. Like we want to win, win, win. Like
yeah,
they're wrong, but at least they're saying we want to win, and if you don't win every year, we want you out. I mean, that might be a little crazy. Here, we're not even saying that, right? We're
Yeah,
like, we're saying
exactly.
Conte wants too much so that he can win. We need him out so that we can play good football and finish 10th.
And to FSG situation, what people don't know, Fenway took a hit during the lockdown. They took a hit. The other team that they own is Boston Red Sox. They had to sell their star Mookie Betts for 100 mil, who was in his prime because they struggled after COVID. And the different story is our club, Tavistock. I'll say it again. Tavistock. Thank you. Succeeded. Um, Thank you, Nava. Yeah, they succeeded. They made money during the lockdown, Tavistock, and so at least FSG has an excuse, but
And they are, somewhat sticking to their plan because even with the Red Sox, right, they are very much a club or organization that believes in we're gonna bring through young players through the system, and we're not going to overpay for players that we think are too much. Like we're not going to pay top dollar for players. So you might not like that strategy, but it is a plan that they had, right? That's why when they got rid of Sadio Mane, it's probably a lot to do with they're saying, look, we don't, not that we think that he's crap, but we're not overpaying for him, and we think we can get value out of selling him. Like what you're talking about with Betts when he went right to the Dodgers. Is that right? Is that where he went?
yeah.
I'm not a baseball, but like when they get those players that are top players, they have no problem saying, we're not going to pay you top dollar. We're going to sell you on, and we're going to try to bring somebody through. Now, it hasn't worked for them this year, right? They've got burned by it. And some of the younger players they were relying on didn't work. But at least with them still, there is a plan of what they're doing. You may not like that plan, but they're not like reacting and going right off their plan based on what the fans are doing. They're sticking to what their plan is, whether Liverpool fans like it or not.
I trust those two clubs to come back. And so, it's a wait and see with Nagelsmann. It comes back to the board. Are they going to back this guy? Are they going to give him the necessary time and tools to be able to be successful? And so, I joked around another bites the dust. It is. And Levy and the board, there's not an outrage. People are happy and they have every right to be happy. But the bigger picture is Levy and the board still stands. And depending on who comes in, What is our DNA? What is our plan? And are we going to stick to that plan? You know, either it's Nagelsmann, either it's Pochettino, either it's Steve Cooper, you know, is it the sporting coach? Are we going to truly back this manager? Are we truly going to give him time, not only as a board, but also as fans, right? Are we going to accept the Arsenal route of fifth place? Are we going to have that patience? You know, it all, I mean, it's gonna find out in the summer. We're going to find out in the summer. And so it's,
Yeah, I think a key thing too that I would say, I think it really matters not just the manager we bring in, but the people that come in around him.
Yep.
Because as we said, Poch was successful not because he could work with young players, but he worked with quality young players. Like, let's not pretend that Toby and Jan were just some random cheap guys that he got, right? That's quality. Harry Kane is quality. Son is quality. Eriksson, quality. Walker, Rose, quality. Now, you know, that's what it is. Same with Nagelsmann. Look at the players he worked with in Leipzig and where they've gone on to. Those are quality players. So we're going to need to, the next manager that comes in, we are going to need to make sure that he's surrounded with football people that are bringing them the players that they need. Because the fact is just saying that we want somebody who works well with young players, well, it's not that simple. There's not a club out there that has success. It's not a club out there that plays good football if they don't have the right players to do that. So that's I think it's going to be important that we bring in finally, or not finally, because we had it with Paul Mitchell, but I think it's important that we bring in, and if it's just Paratici, I don't have much hope for anyone.
With all the coming and going with our academy, and like I said, my dream scenario would be, Paratici. It was nice knowing you, but you know what? If we're bringing Poch in, Paul Mitchell's available, bring him in. I would love, I've said this before, Glenn Hoddle was speaking on about the team the other day, to have him as an advisor in the team, you know, to advise the board, you know, that would be the right start of somewhat maybe a miracle coming out and somewhat trusting this board. But the problem is we have an identity crisis. We don't know what we want. Tuchel, you know, would have been our manager if Bayern didn't step in, right? He's pragmatic, just like, in my opinion, like Conte, pragmatic, just like Jose, pragmatic, just like Nuno, right? But you want DNA, you want free-flowing football, you know, but you're going after managers who want to win now, who are pragmatic, and then you don't want to back them. It's an identity crisis. So now, this is all Levy right now. What do you want? What do you want for your club? Are you going to listen to what the fans want, right? They want that free-flowing football along with winning trophies. Then, all right, you got Nagelsmann, you got Pochettino available, right? You have the other coach, what's his name, with Fedorov, right? I forget the guy's name, right? Bring him in.
Slot? Is that who you're talking about?
The manager for Fedorov,
Slot or something like that.
Then you know what?
Fellows.
Back, I just
Aaron Slot.
Ernie Slot. I just want our club to back a project, to back a manager.
It's got to be all aligned, right, from the top down. We've seen it.
Yeah.
You can't piece together mismatch. It's got to come from the top down. Everybody's on board with the exact same strategy. I know there's some people out there that'll say, "Oh, well, you know, you have to have club signings because you don't know how long the manager's going to be here." No. You need to have everybody on board with every player that you're bringing in, because it does you no good. The idea of a club signing that a manager doesn't want, they don't play. It doesn't work.
Yep.
You don't need club signings. So you need everybody on board for the exact same plan. And if you're worried about what happens when your manager leaves, then bring in another manager that has a similar philosophy and a similar style. That's how you make it work with the players. You don't chop and
If you
change and say, you know
recruit-
what? We know better. We know better than the manager we hired. Because if you think you know better than Conte, if you think you can get better players than what Conte wants, then don't have him here.
Yep.
Don't bring him in. That's the solution to that problem. Not bring him in players he doesn't want. So let's just have it everybody on the same page, right down from the top. And that means though Levy is not involved in football.
And that's why
There's no way that any manager or football person is on board with Levy making decisions.
And that's why I said a guy like Glenn Hoddle will be good, right? He's from the past of our DNA type of football, and he can say, this is a Spurs player, right? This is the manager we need to get in, right? Even if the next manager doesn't work out, which is a very good chance, right? At least we're bringing in players so that next manager can come with that same philosophy. We have that same type of player, Spurs player, right? We have a DNA. We have we have a philosophy. This is a Spurs type of player that we can.
It doesn't have to pick the specific player, right? But he sets the idea. Like he doesn't have to say we need this like player who's playing for PSV, or we don't need this guy who's playing at Fiorentina. But he can say this is the style of player that we need. This is the profile of a player, right? And then you let the other guys go out and pick the actual players. He doesn't have to be the guy who's specifically doing it. But he's also somebody who can say when you're saying, hey, we're bringing in Spence, even though the manager doesn't want it, he can say, hold on, that makes no sense. Why are we doing that? Or, hey, we're playing Dyer and Davies when we've had 4 managers who have said they're not good enough. It's time to address this issue, right? That's what he can do, those big picture ideas, right? And it'd be so helpful. I agree with you there. That's what we need.
And the academy could that same thing. We will train our players to play the Spurs way, and from top to bottom, everybody will know this is how we play, and maybe that would be a start to a change. But if we don't have that, we're gonna be here a year and a half later, complaining about the same old thing, and it's just And I know we had Richie earlier. Richie was happy about Conte leaving, but then when I asked him the question, right, what do you want to see? I want to see attractive football. I want to see winning football. Okay, do you believe that's going to happen? He says no. Why? Because of our board, because of Levy. So, for those who are in the chat, I want Nagelsmann in. I want him in, but do I believe he's going to get backed? That's a different story.
Yeah, I understand that people are happy. I just wish I heard more reasons of why this makes us better, and not because Conte's a dinosaur, because he played dumb football, but like more practical reasons how this makes us better. And I haven't heard anything. Because I'm fine. Hey, look, if you're telling me we're sacking Conte and here's our plan of why this makes us better and it makes sense, great. But everything I've heard from people, even the reset, which I fully agree with, there's no way Levy's doing that. Like, I'm not married to Conte. I would love to see, if you said we're going to win with Nagelsmann or we're going to win with Conte, I'd take Nagelsmann 100 times out of 100 over Conte. Because I like the way he plays football. But that doesn't mean that Conte's a dinosaur. That doesn't mean that Conte plays defensive football, right? Doesn't mean that he had anything to do with it. It's our players. I think the same football will be played with Nagelsmann here. So, anyways, yeah, that's it's funny. I don't know I can't remember, Mari, when everybody joined. I know when I first joined YouTube, it was right before the ESL, right before Jose getting fired. So it's funny that when I joined up, there was all the similar debates about Jose, whether he should stay, whether he should go. 2 years now later, we've already gone through the Nuno stuff, and now we're here again. It's just like nothing's changed.
Well, I found everybody through Last Word of Spurs and Chris Cowman. That's why I found Irish Hotspur, and there was a woman that used to stream, was a huge Jose out, and I was a huge Jose in. So we got into arguments. It was basically kind of like our arguments. He wasn't truly back, and she was much worse than you. But I was saying something like, because I honestly did not want Gareth Bale to come back if it was going to sacrifice not getting Skinner. And I said the reason why we dropped points is because we didn't get. I honestly felt we definitely would have finished top 4 with Milan Skriniar. Definitely.
Yeah,
If we
I
had
love that defender, honestly.
instead of Rodin, because remember we were in first till mid December, but we of course, as usual, we fold the mentality of the team. Eventually got to Zybreg, which was, to a point where Jose went to the other locker room and congratulated the fans. And I think that's when Jose out became huge. And then what put me over the top, and this is where we have a disagreement. I'm just saying we have a better chance for Jose, in a one game, trophy one off to fight him 6 days. Like, if you find him at the end of the season, Jose, all right, I would have accepted that. But to fight him 6 days before the game,
I just think at that point there was nothing. I don't think we were winning that game no matter what. That's my stance on it. We were not winning that final, no matter who it was. It was just the players are so. But it's funny how many of the same issues we're having now that we did then, right?
Yeah, man.
We had that Zagreb game. We went up 2-0. We could have lost. We could have tied. We could have lost 2-0. That all we had to not do was, or whatever it was, right? All we had to not do was give up 2 goals. We could have lost. We didn't even have to win that game, and yet that was that. People want to talk about how it was so bad we gave up the Southampton 3-1 lead. That Zagreb game, that game was horrible. That was worse than any game under Conte. That was so bad. No, the Zagreb game where we were going to the second leg, right? It's like you knew what you had to do. Just don't lose by 3 goals or whatever it is. And we did it. Yeah, the West Ham game was the same way, right? Like
the West Ham,
like
nothing.
Jose and Conte are suddenly dumb managers. No, because our players are weak and give up dumb chances, right? Like Winks, kick that freaking ball through the kick it out of bounds. Kick it out of bounds. We win that game. That's
and then we lost 5-4. We lost 5-4 to Everton. Another defensive lapse. That's what I say. If we had Milan Skriniar, it would have been a different story. But no,
that Everton game was.
Yeah, but no, that's how I found everybody. And then when I created my channel was during the ESL, and even then I was calling our fan base weak in regards to, because I saw the Chelsea protest, I saw United protest, so the Arsenal protest, and then I found out about Enoch out, and I was just like, this is the perfect opportunity, and no one shows up, and that's when I knew, okay, it would have to take us being regulated, and even that, I don't even know if our fan base will just, go nuts, and it's just,
It's all the same stuff we had pre-Conte. Honestly, like we're talking about so many of the same things we were under Jose. How bad the football is. Oh, how are we giving up these leads? How come we can't do it? Oh, are the subs at the right time? It just makes it's. But again, like when I say it's on the players, it's not because I think Conte has managed 100% perfect. Like there's nothing. But Klopp makes mistakes. Pep makes mistakes. Ancelotti makes mistakes. Like that, he's making those level of mistakes that other like managers make. Everybody makes. He's not making terrible. Again, when I was getting into it with Richie, he said, "Why did you bring on Davison Sanchez?" Because we don't have players on the bench that can make a difference.
Yeah, man.
Anyways, but
well, to sum it all up, I think today, I think the major point where I think people are going to miss, and a few again, not Conte being sacked, it is that Daniel Levy wins again because of what we said in November when Conte got hired. We said this: if it didn't work out with Conte and the board and Levy, that this will finally get the fan base to say, Levy, this is on you, this is on the board, because of the complaints of the boring football, it then blinded people to miss the overarching theme that Daniel Levy and the board has failed once again with another manager. They have failed
100%.
again. And Daniel Levy is smoking that stogie, that cigar. He's having a glass of wine and he's smiling because there's no heat on him, as I can see from Twitter. So only a few people like myself and us who are complaining that, hey, people, look, the bigger picture is Daniel Levy has failed. The club has failed. And big up to Chris Collin and Levy Queen. There were a few that actually agree with us. Like, hey, you get overlooking Levy and the board. They failed once again. We had high hopes. We had high hopes. But like I said, the fans were more outraged about boring football than what Levy has and the board has done, and so they win. Levy and the board, they win tonight. Uh, I'm still shocked Stellini is coaching
Yeah,
because
that
usually
one I don't understand. I do not get that at all. But
I
maybe
don't
there's something
understand
behind
how
the scenes.
he
Actually, I
agreed to
have a
be.
bit of a theory. I have a bit of a theory why Stellini is in there.
Yeah,
I personally got a feeling that Levy has worked out some tactics while Conte was sick. I think he has worked something out with Stellini. He is playing a bit of a political game here. He has somehow, I think, convinced Stellini to take over the whole charge. He has, in a way, I think, caused a bit of a divide, like you are maybe better than Conte, some sort of thing. I hope I'm wrong, but that's where Daniel Levy is kind of good. He is kind of good at manipulating things, so it could be it's very much possible. Like why you were saying all those Stellini in tweets and all that, it's possible that he has caused that sort of a divide in the among the coaching staff as well.
yeah. I don't know. I just find that so weird. Unless Conte's like, you know what? I just had my gallstones and my health. Yeah, we're gonna separate, leave Stellini, you know, so the club can still kind of get top four. There's still kind of a chance, I guess. But the football is still going to be pragmatic with Stellini. Stellini is pretty much
Same
Conte,
style.
so same style. But it's I don't know, it's just kind of weird because usually, like I said, Italians they stick together. He goes, I'm going. So it's
Well, you'll think
that
Stellini is going to go wherever Conte goes next, right? Like that's. But
I would think so. And so
Let's hope
that's a
so.
bit weird. But in regards to the narrative of Levy winning, then he gets to interview. Well, Paratici is supposedly in charge. Will be doing the interview process. Will he go back to Fonseca, right? Because we're here rumors, remember, right? If Paratici is somewhat in charge, what if he brings up Fonseca? I will tell you this, right? If people were upset with Conte, I'll be upset with Fonseca. I'm gonna tell you the truth. So, mind you, and I say this because it's not too far fetched. Tuchel they want to bring in, and Tuchel, I think, plays pragmatic. So I don't know. It's direction, ambition, vision, whatever word you can come up with. This club it lacks it, and it's just going to be real interesting these next couple of months. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, man.
Really, yeah. Well, I am going to because I'm going to have my dinner. It's I just want to thank everybody that has come out. I'll give a big shout out to Luca, Cold Shot, Football Heritage, Asava. His subscribe and like his channel. Let me post it up there. Um, he has some new shows, even with some opposing fans of other clubs. So go hit us, like and subscribe. Also give like and subscribe to Jacob with that Spurs of America. We got Luca was in the house. We had Matero was also in the house. This and that 765 also in the house. C to the fourth also in the house. Once again, the lovely Lisa, big up sister. She was also in the house. Has came in earlier. Bob Spur came in earlier. Malton Harley came in. Mitch, 63, who's an Everton fan, has come in. To be interesting, he made his prediction about the upcoming game. We had M. Dot, Arsenal fan, who also came in. Big up. JJ. I don't want to leave anybody out. We had Kev Williams who came out. He's happy Conte is gone. He's happy with the prospect of Nagelsmann. And like I said, I like Nagelsmann too. But is he going to be back? That is the $1 million question. JGR was in the house. Michael Zito. Big up to those guys. Faz was also in the house. Jordan, who is in the house, had really one of the posts of the day. Spurs broken yet another world-class manager. This club is something else. Went on to the next manager that will be sacking the year. Another one bites the dust, right? Joseph, who was in the house, another post of the night. Levy has got another pass. Exactly. We'll be here another 12 to 18 months. Time blaming another manager. Who else was in the house? We had Michael, who's in the house. Big up, brother Michael. We had TOT Spurs, who was in the house. Kirian was in the house. Big up. Who else? Mark Cousins he was in the house. Says big up. Isaac, big up to him. Big support of the channel. Step Up Spurs, also in the house.
That's me actually.
Oh yeah, that's you.
No, I was hoping you were going to say, "What a jerk."
Spurs
That's
kid.
Spurs.
We have Scott M in the house. Chris, Bud That Zoot, Ariel, Anonymous Word. I mean, everybody. I'm guessing people are not gonna sleep tonight, so there'll be some other shows going on. I gotta eat, and so of course Bryce once again is in the house. I'm still fucking here, Mari. Yes, you are. Big up to Bryce, man. He's one of the biggest supporters of the channel.
Actually, I'm going live in 5 minutes, by the way.
Oh, yep. Elias is going live in 5 minutes. Please head over there. Elias, where can people find you?
I can drop the link in the chat there.
Please
you can find me at Step Up Spurs. I'm going live in 5 minutes to discuss the same old shit.
Oh yeah, and I will stop by as soon as I eat a nice plate of spaghetti. Oh, it actually could be a plate of spaghetti that I can smell right now. Oh yeah, and so
Oh yeah.
but yeah, it is done, and thank you, brother Michael. Thank you. Thank you once again. Guys, don't forget to hit a like. Please hit a like. And yeah, let me copy and paste. Let me hold up. Let me copy this. Yeah, I'm gonna copy and paste it. Please support us and
Thanks, man.
and go over this. Can you put it in the chat too? I'm trying to post it.
I tried to post it, but I'm not a moderator on your channel, Mari, you jerk. So it didn't work when I posted it. I thought I was a mod here for some reason.
Yeah, so
Not a
same
big
here.
deal.
When I try to post it, I can't post it because I'm not a mod also.
To be honest, I don't even know how the setup of moderators, and to be honest with you, this whole time in the 2 years, I don't know who's a moderator. I don't know how to give permission to moderate, and so if any below, just posted the link, guys. Yes, check out Elias's show within 5 minutes. I know I'll hop on there, and like I said, people probably streaming wee hours of the morning, especially those who are on the UK side. So please check out the show. I'll come back midweek. I actually had, well, I'll play this, guys, a teaser, but I originally planned this. So, guys, watch this. I am listening. How can you generate me more money? I mean, trophies. If you don't know, get to know. But
If you don't know, get to know.
this is a game show I was going to do with the panel today before the big news. Here it goes. I've got the power. Yeah. That was originally a segment I was going to do tonight. I will probably do that on Wednesday, because we're officially looking for a new manager, and so yeah, so yeah. So on Wednesday, you got the power. Convince Levy why you are the best managerial candidate. And on that note, since I declare that Levy has won, how do I remove this? Okay. I want to remove it. Since I declared that he's won, and I hate the fact of saying it, I'm going to go do the Brian Daigle Levy out. Levy out.
Levy out.
Levy out.